ABC Sports presents the 1981 World Series. Live from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 2, Wednesday night in New York. Tommy John gives up 3 hits through 7 innings, shuts out the Dodgers, helps himself with his scintillating play in the 5th. With the game scoreless in the bottom of the 5th inning, Larry Milbourne delivers this 2-out double to left to score Willie Randolph to make it 1-0. The Yankees add 2 more in the 8th, and Goose Gossage comes out of the bullpen to save another. Yanks win 3-0, lead in the series 2 games to nothing. Tonight, Game 3. A gorgeous early evening in Southern California. Dodger Stadium sold out tonight as this ABC Sports presentation is being brought to you by Chevrolet, who invites you to see all the good things for 1982 at your local Chevy dealers. Chevy makes good things happen. By Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. By Seiko and your authorized Seiko dealer. This plaque is the sign you can trust to get the best of Seiko. And by the Gillette Atra razor. It pivots to continually adjust and hug every curve and contour of your face. Give it the pivot with Gillette Atra. Hello again, everyone. I'm Al Michaels, and welcome to Dodger Stadium, Game 3 of the World Series, a series that has, of course, been dominated by the Yankees, though neither game has been a wipeout thus far. 5-3 and 3-0 the final scores in games 1 and 2. And the Yankees have done it with some clutch hitting. Watson in the first game, Milbourne in the second. Some great defense with Nettles and Winfield and Randolph. Though Nettles is out tonight, Aurelio Rodriguez, very capable defensively, takes his spot. Fine starting pitching, and of course the one and only Goose. As far as the Dodgers are concerned, they come home, they have their ace, Fernando Valenzuela, going to the mound tonight, but what the Dodgers need is some stock in the lineup. In their 12 postseason games, they have scored only 31 runs and are hitting a collective 204. Do the Dodgers have a home field advantage? Well, Mother Nature may have given them one today. The Dodgers are used to rolling ground in Southern California. A 4.5 earthquake hit L.A. this morning at 10:28. No injuries, no damage, except maybe to some Yankee psyches. We'll find out. Right now, the crowd awaiting the introduction of both teams. Let's go to the PA announcer at Dodger Stadium. He's been here since the park opened in 1962, John Ramsey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 3 of the 1981 World Series between the American League champion New York Yankees and your National League champion Los Angeles Dodgers. At this time, let's meet the American League champion Yankees. Coaches, Yogi Berra. Coaches, Yogi Berra, Mike Ferraro, Charlie Lau, bullpen, Joe Altobelli, and Dom Scala in the bullpen. Outfielder, Bobby Mercer. Third baseman, Greg Nettles. First baseman, Dave Reverie. Outfielder, Bobby Brown. Outfielder, Oscar Gamble. Catcher, Barry Foote. Catcher, Dennis Worth. Pitcher, Tommy John. Pitcher, Dave LaRoche. Pitcher, Rick Russell. Pitcher, Ron Davis. Pitcher, George Frazier. Outfielder, Reggie Jackson. Pitcher, Rudy May. Pitcher, Ron Guidry. Pitcher, Rich Gossage. Infielder, Andre Robertson. Yankee manager, Bob Lemon. And now the starting lineup. Number 30, Willie Randolph, second base. Number 22, Jerry Mumphrey, center field. Number 31, Dave Winfield, left field. Number 14, Lou Piniella, right field. Number 28, Bob Watson, first base. Number 10, Rick Serrone, catcher. Number 27, Aurelio Rodriguez, third base. Number 18, Larry Milbourne, shortstop. And in the bullpen, number 19, the pitcher, Dave Righetti. And now let's meet your Los Angeles Dodgers. Coaches, Manny Mota, Ron Baranowski is in the bullpen, Danny Ozark, Monty Basgall, Mark Cressy in the bullpen. Outfielder, Reggie Smith. Catcher, Mike Socia. Outfielder, Jay Johnstone. Pitcher, Alejandro Pena. Pitcher, Joe Beckwith. Infielder, outfielder, Darryl Thomas. Pitcher, Bob Welch. Pitcher, Bobby Castillo. Pitcher, Dave Goltz. Pitcher, Jerry Rice. Outfielder, Ken Landro. Pitcher, Bert Hooten. Pitcher, Dave Stewart. Pitcher, Tom Niedenbuer. Pitcher, Terry Forster. Infielder, Steve Sachs. Pitcher, Steve Howe. Manager, Tommy Lasorda. And now let's meet the Dodgers starting lineup. Number 15, Davey Lopes, second base. Number 18, Bill Russell, shortstop. Number 12, Dusty Baker, left field. Batting fourth, number 6, Steve Darby, first base. Number 10, Ron Say, third base. Number 28, Pedro Guerrero, center field. Number 16, Rick Mundy, right field. Number 7, Steve Yeager, catcher. And in the bullpen, number 34, pitcher Fernando Valenzuela.
Fernando Valenzuela, tonight's starting pitcher. There he is already in the dugout, having completed his warm-ups. And the crowd all season long with the typical response.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, here to sing
Our national anthem is a great performer and a great fan of the Dodgers, Tony Tennille.
Would you all please join me now in singing our national anthem, everybody? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, the honor of throwing out the first ball today goes to one of the Dodgers' all-time greats and a member of baseball's Hall of Fame, Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so naturally he would gravitate to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Went to the University of Cincinnati and It's hard to forget Sandy, all of his greatness, the no-hit games, but above all, as this crowd stands as one to give him the ovation he deserves, and he shows that left arm again, one has to think back to the World Series of 1963, the way it was. Yes, Sandy Koufax would open that series against the Yankees, and he would blow the Yankee hitters down one after another. It seemed almost endlessly. He would set a then World Series record of 15 strikeouts. The final one against Harry Bright, and the Dodgers would sweep the Yankees. Sandy Koufax. And so as Sandy goes back to the dugout, we're about ready for the start of Game 3, and we'll be back at Dodger Stadium in a moment.
Marcus, I see Whisker. Give it the pivot.
Give it the pivot, give it the pivot, Atra.
Next time, Jose, give it the pivot.
Atra.
The Gillette Atra razor pivots to continually adjust and hug every curve, contour, and angle. No other razor shaves closer and more comfortably than Atra.
I give it the pivot.
Give it the pivot, Atra.
Give it the pivot with Gillette Atra.
I do one thing. I kick this ball through those two poles. Do one thing all the time. You get to be great. Like Kentucky Fried Chicken. They don't try to do everything. Just chicken, and no one else does it tender and juicy the Colonel's way.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do it right for you.
I do kicking right. They do chicken right.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Here's your chance to get the official 1981 World Series program, a collector's item commemorating the 78th Fall Classic. Send check or money order for $4 to World Series program, Post Office Box 250, Hicksville, New York 11802. Please make checks payable to World Series program. New York residents must add appropriate sales tax. That's World Series program, Box 250, Hicksville, New York. Allow 8 weeks for delivery. The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Taking a look at the Dodgers defensively, the durable one, Steve Garvey, who has played in 945 consecutive regular season games at first base. Davey Lopes is at second. At shortstop for Los Angeles, Bill Russell, who is 1 for 7 in this series. And the third baseman, Ron Cey, the same foursome celebrating their 8th anniversary together this season. The Dodger outfielder in left, Dusty Baker, had his best year in '81. Pedro Guerrero again getting the start in center field. And around and right, Monday's hero, Rick Monday, who beat the Expos with the dramatic 9th inning home run to launch the Dodgers into the World Series. Again, Mike Scioscia did most of the catching in the regular season, but it's been Steve Yeager all the way in the World Series, and Fernando Valenzuela on the mound. Valenzuela led the majors in strikeouts with 180, led the majors in shutouts with 8, led the majors in drawing power. Willie Randolph to lead things off, Jerry Mumphrey and Dave Winfield to follow. So the Yankees up 2-0. Game 3 here tonight, games 4 and 5 if necessary here tomorrow and Sunday. Randolph 0 for 5 in the World Series. Screwball for a strike. The plate umpire tonight is an American League umpire taking his first look at Valenzuela, and that would be Terry Cooney. The strike one pitch, he tries to bunt his way aboard and fouls it at the plate. Jim, what would a pitcher's scouting report on Cooney say?
Well, Terry's a good umpire. I think the biggest pitch that he has trouble with maybe is the curveball. I know we've seen him in the old days when Bert Blyleven, before he went to the National League and came back, he had trouble with his curveball, and basically he's going to make you throw strikes, which Valenzuela can do. Only walks around a little bit under 3 men a game, and Terry's going to give you a good game, and that's all you can ask of an umpire.
Well, my scouting book says keep him away from Billy Morton.
And vice versa.
Especially in Canada. 0-2 pitch is fouled away. Count holding on Randolph.
When you showed the screwball, Jim, in your analysis of the pitching styles of each pitcher, You pointed out how the screwball fades or tails away from the right-handed batter.
Well, exactly, and he sets it up with a fastball that he can throw either in or away, and there you see a screwball. I think the interesting thing, we talked about how young Fernando is that he adjusts very well. He pitched the first game of the National League playoff and lost to Montreal, and he threw a lot of screwballs. He adjusted, came back, threw a lot of fastballs, and won 2-1.
Count even 2-2 on Randolph. Valenzuela, who spent the regular season for the most part pitching with 4 days rest, is once again thrust into a situation where he is working with 3 days rest. Last pitching on Monday. 2-2 pitch is lifted in the air down the right field line and into the corner. Rick Monday will run out of room, and it's foul. What has become, of course, a classic shot all season long. The close-up of Fernando as he delivers.
It's not something you teach a young pitcher to do, but this is where it gets his momentum. And that right shoulder turns almost towards second base, and if you're going to throw hard, and he's not a Righetti type pitcher that throws 95, but he's throwing 86, 87 miles per hour, and he's got a great screwball and a good curveball. That fastball looks a lot quicker. But I think the thing to look for are his pitches down in the strike zone. That's when he gets hurt, is when the ball's up. And there you see a high fastball. The last 2 pitches have been up. As you said, Al, the whole Dodger pitching staff's been pitching with only 3 days in between starts, something that they'd rather not do. But since they've had to win almost every game the last couple of weeks, they've been forced into this type of rotation.
Randolph fouling it away.
Now you're seeing Willie, who has an excellent batting eye, work Valenzuela. You've learned, for those of you who don't follow baseball closely during the year, that the screwball tails away from a right-hand batter. The secret to hitting it successfully is to go to the opposite field. Go with the fadeaway and hit to right, which is what Randolph has been trying to do up till now.
Valenzuela back to the plate with a screwball missing, and Randolph is aboard. So Fernando got out in front 0-2, and he walks Randolph. Willie at first base with nobody out. And Jerry Mumphrey comes up. Mumphrey 2 for 5 in the World Series.
And here you'll just see, you talk about poise. Here's a 3-2 screwball in the first inning to the first batter. Something normal pitchers won't do. They go with their strength, maybe their fastball, just a little bit high.
Jerry Mumphrey, his .307 average during the regular season, the tops on the club. Bluffs a bunt, takes a strike with Shea in on the grass at third.
I think they'd like to get a runner in scoring position. I was talking to Clyde King. He said that with these 2 pitchers pitching, they might have to give this game to whoever gets a guy to third base, because it might. I think he figures it's going to be a low-run affair, and might look for a bunt or a hit and run here.
Valenzuela driving Randolph back. Willie led the Yankees in steals this season. He had 14 and was thrown out 5 times. Again driving him back. Mike Ferraro, the Yankee coach, at first base, with Garvey holding the runner aboard. On deck is Dave Winfield, who has been hitless thus far in games 1 and 2. 0-2 the count. Right now it's 5:37 here in Los Angeles. The lights are starting to take some effect. Much made, of course, in October about the twilight, but it won't be very long, maybe the 3rd inning, by the time that the lights will have full effect here, Jim.
Well, it's an advantage to the pitcher, because this is the famed twilight that when Nolan Ryan used to pitch at Anaheim Stadium, he used to pitch the one-hitters. And what happens is that I really feel it's an advantage to a pitcher, because the toughest time to pitch is to get your rhythm and get everything together on the mound. You can make some bad pitches in the first inning. And I know Winfield said during batting practice, we're not even changing speeds or throwing breaking balls, that he had trouble seeing the ball. So you can get away with some bad pitches early.
0-2 pitch is grounded toward third and backhanded by Shea, who goes to Lopes in time there for the 4th.
Close play.
Ron Shea going to the line. They erase Randolph with Mumphrey now at first base. 1 out, and Winfield coming up.
And here you see it. The ball's not hit too hard. Shea gets to it. Thinks he has plenty of time. You can see Randolph's speed. Just barely out at second.
Close play at second to get him. as Dave Winfield comes up. Winfield, no stranger to this ballpark, having spent his entire career at San Diego prior to signing with the Yankees. Dave looking for his first hit in the series. Hit .294 during the regular season with 13 homers and 68 runs batted in. 1 out, no score in the first inning.
He's been held hitless, but it's a little deceptive. He hit 2 shots in the first game of the series, one of which was out right around where Gianfrido made the catch on DiMaggio in 47.
It's about 18 rows up in this ballpark. I mean, that's the difference. I think that the right-handed hitters for both teams are going to have a little bit more effect in the games here.
2-0 the count. Mumphrey at first base. 1 out. First inning. The Yankees, of course, with a somewhat short deck again tonight. As Howard pointed out earlier, Reggie Jackson not playing, and the injury to Greg Nettles. So Rodriguez in the lineup at third and batting 7th as the pitch misses outside for ball 3. And Piniella getting the start at right field, and it's an even shorter deck, of course, because Bucky Dent has been out since September. But it proves just how deep the Yankee bench is.
Well, I've always felt when our ball club plays them, it seems like they have about 40 men over on the bench, because they have not only great players that play every day, they have guys on the bench that can come in and do almost an equal job.
And Winfield is aboard. So Valenzuela with control trouble here in the first inning. He went 0-2 on Randolph and walked him. Then the force play, and now walks Winfield on 4 pitches to bring up Lou Piniella.
Very unusual for Fernando. Control problem here. In the meantime, the club professional, Lou Piniella. He's been hitting very well, as you know, in postseason play and in the series. Look at that. Yankees leading hitter, 625, runners in scoring position. But he says he doesn't feel comfortable at the plate. You know, it's an old gag with Lou. When he's hitting .450 over a stretch, he'll say, I'm not right. I'm not comfortable.
Well, he's always friendly to the pitchers, too. He wants to set us all up. But you have a lot of respect for him, and all the pitches he's hit in this World Series so far have been up in the strike zone. You know, you talk about a great hitter he is. He's also a pretty good double play man if you can make a good pitch and get him to hit a ground ball at one of your infield.
Piniella 8 for 20 in postseason play. The Yankees runners at first and second with 1 out, and Fernando misses again, ball 1.
But he's trying to get him to hit it down. You saw where the pitch was, low.
Valenzuela, his story well documented and chronicled this year. One of 12 children, born and raised in Mexico, will celebrate his 21st birthday on the 1st of November. That's a strike, and the count 1-1.
Tom Lasorda, he of the many words and many moods.
The full spectrum with Tommy. From gregariousness to doom. Fouled away out of play, and the count 1-2.
Yeah, but I couldn't think of too many better PR men for baseball. He does a tremendous job.
I agree with you. There are a lot of people who don't like his act, who prefer the more mild-mannered type, the Bob Lemon, Bill Verdon type.
Well, that's easy to say out here, where they almost pack them in, you know, whether they play good or badly, or if they have a mild-mannered manager or not. But Tommy, he not only wins, but I think that he has a lot of charisma all over the country.
2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. Lasorda, of course, only the second man to manage the Dodgers since the team came west in 1958. Walter Alston here through the 76 season, and then Lasorda taking over in 77 and guiding the Dodgers into the World Series in his first 2 years at the helm, and for the 3rd time in 5 here. 2-2 on Piniella. Full count. So Fernando with Mumphrey at second and Winfield at first. 1 away in the first inning.
Well, you've heard so much, read so much about his retention of poise despite his youth, and he's going to have a chance to prove it here now.
We'll check the runners. They go, and the 3-2 pitch is grounded foul outside third. So Mumphrey and Winfield moving on the pitch, but they'll go back, and the count remains 3-2. Valenzuela, really no stranger to pressure circumstances, people have a tendency to forget, since he is a rookie, that last year he came up at the end of the season. He did not pitch long enough to lose his rookie status, but he was involved in some very, very important games for the Dodgers down the stretch. The runners go again. The 3-2 pitch is grounded to short. Russell goes to Lopes in time there. 100 to Garvey to get the double play. So the Yankees send the runners, and the Dodgers still pull off the double play on a sharply hit bouncing ball to Billy Russell.
And here you see a high screwball hit right at Russell. Winfield's running on the play. And here you see Pinella's lack of speed. He gets to the base, but Lopes makes a great play, throws a one-hopper to Garvey for the third out of the inning.
Yankees done in the first after a half. New York nothing, and Los Angeles coming up.
Picking and choosing the right investments requires very careful handling. One wrong move can easily damage the best laid plans. At Merrill Lynch, we know that size and strength can be very valuable. But it is our sensitivity to your investment goals and agility in helping you reach them that makes us what we are. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
You've read about it, you've heard about it. But until now, you've never had a better chance to own it. It's the RCA video disc player, the remarkable machine that plays records of movies, concerts, and more on your TV. And to help you be one of the first to own one, RCA is offering a $50 introductory bonus. Buy one now and you'll get $50 direct from RCA. What's more, a special 10-day money-back offer is available at selected RCA dealers. But hurry, you may never have a better chance.
For the Yankees defensively, Bob Watson, 4 for 7 in the first 2 games at first base. And at second, the veteran Willie Randolph, the shortstop, and having a fine series, drove in the game-winning run in Game 2. Larry Milburn done a great job filling in for Bucky Dent. And here's Aurelio Rodriguez, finally getting a chance after a long career to play in a World Series because of the injury to Greg Nettles. In the Yankee outfield, Dave Winfield. In left, in center field, Jerry Mumphrey. And around in right, with Jackson still out of the lineup, Lou Piniella. Back of the plate for the Yankees is Rick Cerrone. And on the mound, the rookie left-hander, called up in May, Dave Righetti. Brilliant second half. He's been brilliant in postseason play. 89 strikeouts in 105 and a third innings. He'll face Davey Lopes leading off with the Dodgers in the bottom of the first inning. Howard talked with the Dodgers second baseman before the game.
Nettles won't be playing tonight. Will this be a psychological lift, at least for the Dodgers?
Well, I don't know about that. The individual replacing him, Aurelio Rodriguez, I assume, has been noted for his defense all his career. Hopefully he won't be able to get to the balls that Nettles gets to, but we're glad that Greg is not in the lineup.
Davey Lopes coming off another off season, hit .206 during the regular year, 5 homers, 17 runs batted in. Some people think this might be his final season in a Dodger uniform.
Well, Davey talks about it. Some days yes, some days no. But what he's really coming off is a simply tremendous play at second base. A throw that, frankly, I didn't think at the time he should have made. Yet he made it, and then Piniella bore out Jim Palmer's statement about if you can get him to hit sharply directly to an infielder, he's perfect double play fodder.
I think it also exemplifies the fact that Lopes knows the players, and he knew Piniella can't run.
Davey Lopes looks at his strike. Lopes, Russell, and Baker in the bottom of the first inning. No score in Game 3. Half swing foul, and the count 0-2.
And I think something that's very important tonight, you can see Terry Cooney, the umpire behind the plate. We talked about the first game, Larry Barnett having the inside protector and the strike zone going down the American League. Now you can see the outside protector, and Righetti is a high ball pitcher, and I would think he'd get a lot of pitches from Terry Cooney tonight.
1-2. Number 39
greatest of all, number 39, Roy Campanella.
Inside, 2-2. Can't be a fixture at this park. And you'll remember, of course, back at the Coliseum, Howard, when they had Roy Campanella night back in 1959. Yankees came out to play an exhibition game with the Dodgers. 93,103 looked on that evening in tribute to Campanella. 3-2 on Lopes.
Pattern of Valenzuela. 2 quick strikes on Randolph, 3 balls, and finally the walk. 2 quick strikes here, 3 balls. Righetti to Lopes.
Well, if Lopes gets on, they're going to better chance of getting some runs.
Down the line in right field and dropping in for extra bases. Piniella will chase it down, plays the hop perfectly, but Lopes has a stand-up double.
And when you get behind hitters 3 and 2, you got to throw a strike, especially to a guy that can steal some bases. Fastball out over the plate, hit right down the line, and you'll see Piniella get a great bounce, or otherwise this ball's 3 bases.
Came off to Piniella the way a hockey puck curls in a ring, right to where he was.
Bill Russell, the batter. That's only the 2nd extra base hit for the Dodgers in the World Series. The other was the home run by Steve Yeager in Game 1. So the crowd immediately comes to life with Russell at the plate. Billy up there to bunt him along. Good bunt, and nobody's there. 1st and 3rd.
Now that's the attack that they planned to mount in game number 2 against Tommy John. Beautiful execution.
Well, he's sacrificing him over, and he makes a good bunt. Righetti can't get to it because he falls off towards 3rd base. Randolph anticipates him catching it. I know a lot of people would attribute this to being inexperienced. It was just a pretty good bunt. And if anybody's to fault, it's Randolph, because he had the only chance of making that play.
Watson at first was retreating back toward the bag. So the Yankee infield will play a double play death with no score and nobody out in the bottom of the 1st inning. And Dusty Baker, 1 for 6 in the World Series, standing in. Baker hit .355 against left-handed pitching this season. 1-0.
To show you the Dodger futility at the plate thus far in the series, this 1st inning, it's the first time in the whole series that they've had 2 men on base in an inning.
2-0 the count. So Dave Righetti in a hole here. Righetti just 22 years old.
I'd like to amend that out. I mean 2 hits in an inning. They did have 2 men on base. Result of walk and a hit and walks.
But rallies have been few and far between. Bob Lemon, the Hall of Fame pitcher, will go out to try to settle down the rookie left-hander, Dave Righetti. Just 22. Righetti, born, raised, lives in San Jose, California, and grew up as a San Francisco Giant fan, so it wouldn't be very difficult for him to hate the Dodgers.
I'm sure he's out there. The last thing they want to happen right now is to have a big inning. I'm sure he's telling them, give him a run.
Well, you said they wouldn't show nervousness as a factor when I discussed it with you, Jim. Yet Righetti clearly is, and Valenzuela did too. Piniella's ball was sharply hit. It just happened to be right to Russell.
Well, form has been reversed in this game. The Dodgers, all the balls they've hit hard, basically been right at people. And Piniella, they got a lucky break. Hit the ball hard, but right at Russell.
2-0 pitch is in there for a strike, and the count 2-1 on Baker. On deck, the cleanup hitter, Steve Garvey. Dodgers with Lopes at 3rd, Russell at 1st, nobody out. Baker gets under it and pops it up. Willie Randolph, the 2nd baseman, will make the play at the edge of the grass. 1 down. Steve Garvey coming up, 3 for 7 in the World Series thus far.
Now here is the club professional, and he claims that he can tell when he's got a pitcher, mentally and emotionally. He watches the pitcher closely, sees if he's stalling for time, sees his posture. Jim, do you find that a valid position, a valid theorem?
Well, I think so. I think all good hitters know what they're doing. Rodney Carew will change his stance according to the pitcher. But he better not wait too long on this 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Garvey takes up and away, ball 1.
I think if you watch the early playoffs, matter of fact, you did it in Milwaukee. If any team in the American League, one of the best fastball hitting clubs is Milwaukee, and he threw the ball right by him. Now, there were shadows, but he embarrassed him.
Russell goes as Garvey rips it into the Yankee dugout, and that scatters him, including Rod Guidry, who comes flying out over the top step.
Bobby Mercer came forward as if to say, hey, cut it out.
Line shot right in there. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count on Garvey. Steve hitting .340 during postseason play with 3 homers. Russell doesn't go this time, and it's up and away.
And that's the pattern on Righetti. I talked to Rick Cerrone. He pitched a great game against us in Yankee Stadium, but he walked the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. Al Bunbury dumped a double, and he came back and shut us out the next 7 innings. And Cerrone says when he gets the ball up, maybe he'll throw a couple of breaking balls to get him back with some rhythm.
Hit foul off to the right.
And there you start Garvey chasing a ball way out of the strike zone.
Way out.
But it's tough to see, and hate to be redundant, but this guy throws awfully hard.
Last 2 pitches have been clocked at 90 and 91. 2-2 the count on Garvey. Lopes at third. Russell at first. And 1 away. 2-2 pitch to Steve is fouled straight back. Ron Say on deck.
Look at his eyes. Looking down at Cerrone just then. And up. Ron Say on deck. As Al noted. Intense man.
Well, he knows he's got to do something if the Dodgers are going to win. And this is a great time for them to get out in front.
Down he goes on a breaking pitch. Ran it down and in on Garvey. And Righetti has got Baker to pop out and Garvey to strike out.
Well, here you see a pitch he doesn't throw too often. But the count's 2-2. Garvey got to protect the plate. Good breaking ball down and in, just where you want it.
Well, we've talked about composure with Valenzuela. The Yankees know this young man has it. He's been in crisis after crisis, and somehow he extricates himself. He's not out of this one yet, though. This is a power man.
Ron Say 1 for 8 in the first 2 games. One and 0.
But I think an important thing, Al, is what you said earlier, that all the clutch plays and hits have been by the Yankees. The clutch relief pitching by Gossage in both games. And for the Dodgers to win, whether it's in the World Series or during the season, you have to get clutch pitching. You have to get some timely hitting.
Now they have to take advantage, obviously, in situations like this when you get runners at first and third and nobody out, and the 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up.
Yankees aren't out of this thing yet.
Righetti is only 2/3 of the way home. 1-0 to Say. Missing just outside. Dave wanted that pitch. 2-0 the count.
So keep falling behind. Sooner or later it costs you. Catches up with you.
Sure does, but Garvey helped him out by swinging a 2-1
At the
pitch out of the
bad
strike
pitch.
zone.
That high outside pitch.
But Ron Say is known for his patience, and we'll see right here if he gets a good pitch to hit or he swings at a bad one.
Takes a strike.
That was a good pitch and not a good pitch to hit. That was the problem with that.
And that illustrates his patience. He knew he probably would have trouble handling that pitch, so let's wait for another one. Maybe it'll be a little bit better.
2-1 the count. Say, despite missing the better part of September with the forearm injury, quick throw to first base, and Russell gets back. Say led the Dodgers in home runs this season with 13. Two and 1. No score. We're in the bottom of the first inning. 2 down. And 2 on. 2-1 to Say. Down and in on him. Same pitch he threw Garvey, and the count is 2-2. Except this one a little harder.
Well, I think it was just a cut fastball, or either a fastball he didn't really throw as well as he liked, and it just kind of sailed in. But
1 run in his last 29 innings. Tough young cookie. What a matchup.
How about one home run in 105 innings all season?
Right.
That's even more awesome.
Gorman Thomas of Milwaukee hit it. 2-2 pitch is fouled away. Valenzuela, who worked out of his trouble in the top of the inning. He walked 2 and was bailed out by the double play.
And he seems to have his trouble early in the game, so I'm sure he's happy he got that double play to end the first inning for him.
He gave up the 1 run last Monday at Montreal in the first inning. Fouled away again. So Say hanging in with the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's giving him a battle because that was a tough pitch. Down low.
Ron Say, his value to the club became quite evident after he went out. Was hurt in September. Took a pitch off the forearm from Tom Griffin of the San Francisco Giants. Some question as to whether he would see any postseason action. 1 for 8 thus far in the 2 games. The 2-2 pitch to Say is hit to deep left field, but hooking and going foul.
Some hearts beat with that one.
Well, he hung a curveball, but he hung it inside. And Say, you have to be a little bit quick. He just threw him a fastball up and away. He fouled it back. Not really looking for a breaking ball with 2 strikes. He's just looking for the ball and just a little bit quick. Pulled it foul.
2-2 the count. 2 out, 2 on, no score in the bottom of the first inning. Davey Lopes, the runner at third. Bill Russell held on by Watson away to his lead at first. The 2-2 to Say. It's hit high in the air to deep left field. Whitfield going back. She's gone. Giving the Dodgers a 3-0 lead in the first inning.
Well, you couldn't throw a ball more down the middle and Say gets his arms extended. Good fastball hitter, hits it deep to left.
You go to the well once too often, is the old saying. Righetti falling behind Garvey, got away with it. Falling behind Say, he did not.
Curtain call for Say.
And there's your clutch hit.
Yep.
The first one. Guerrero, the batter. Missing high, ball 1. 1-0. So Dave Righetti, who had given up just that 1 home run to Gorman Thomas on the 16th of September during the regular season, yielding 1 to Say here as Guerrero fouls it away. 1-1 on Pete.
Does ballpark make a difference, Jim?
I'm not so sure on that home run, but I think confidence. In Yankee Stadium, you can just kind of throw the ball out over the plate if you're left-handed, let him hit it to deep center or deep left center, and you don't have to really spot the ball that well. Here, ever since 1968, when they really didn't move the fences in, they moved home plate out towards the fences about 10 feet. The ball's carried much better.
One ball, 2 strikes the count. Fights it off and fouls it away. So Guerrero's still alive with the count 1-2. Lemon and Clyde King. That hit him. So Guerrero will go to first base. Cerrone is going to argue that it hit his bat or that Pedro did not make a complete effort to get out of the way of it. Mild beef.
Here's a slider, and he goes out and thinks it's a fastball. Really can't get out of the way. Once again, you see him hit it on the bottom of the right arm.
So watching over to chat with Righetti, the Yankee bullpen has not been active. They're shuffling some chairs down there right now. as Rick Monday comes up. Monday, a starter in Game 1, and he was 0 for 4 on Tuesday, striking out 3 times. One and 0 the count.
Well, Righetti said he'd go right at him. Strength against strength. Fastballs. To say it was a ticket to a big hit.
Well, it was, Howard, but if you're going to go at strength after strength, it's all right to throw fastballs, but you better not throw them in the middle of the plate.
High and over the middle of the plate.
On a 2-2 count, because you know what Say's looking for.
2 balls, no strikes the count on Monday.
And again, he's behind a hitter, and he hit the previous batsman.
Righetti throwing over to first base. Yankee bullpen. First activity of the night is George Frazier is throwing.
There he is. Did a superb job against Oakland.
And there you saw Righetti's move. He does not have a good move once he starts his windup, but when he's looking into, here you see Guerrero just barely getting back. He just looks in to take the signs like he is now and just steps off the rubber and fires a pretty hard throw to first.
2-1.
What's interesting, Howard, is that with the exception of Rick Monday, who's a low fastball hitter, every Dodger that's in the lineup tonight is a high fastball hitter. And Righetti, as we said, is a high fastball pitcher. And so far, maybe that's the reason he's not faring too well.
Monday fouling it at the plate. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's the Penguin. One happy fella.
Two and 2 the count. Guerrero at first base. And there goes Guerrero as Monday hits it softly to the right side. Watson drops, picks it up, throws to Righetti, covering, not in time. And all the way to third goes Guerrero.
Well, the Yankees showed confusion, indecision, and an easy play becomes a difficult one.
Well, it's a play you practice in spring training every day, maybe 6 weeks. And the only thing that Righetti did wrong was not get to the bag as quickly as he can. Watson, of course, fumbled the ball. But for Righetti's at the bag, I would think that Monday would have been out.
You are right.
They're going to score that, a base hit.
You're putting me on.
They just flashed hit on the board.
He's arrived early.
Steve Yeager pops it up on the right side, and Watson will be able to handle this one. But in the first inning, the Dodgers send 8 men to the plate. 3 runs, 4 hits. The man responsible for the scoring right there. Say's 3-run homer. Leave 2 after 1. 3-0 Los Angeles.
Summer times and first vacations, happy times and celebrations. Somewhere there's a Chevy at the heart of it. Autumn dreams and good vibrations, winter scenes and decorations. Get yourself a Chevy and be part of it. Chevy makes good things happen. Good things happen. Chevy makes good things happen.
There's a piece of the sun in Polaroid's new sun camera, so you don't drag people out in the sun to take pictures.
I don't have to stand there and squint.
No, it's a new system.
Why waste a shot in this light?
We turn bad light into good pictures. Didn't waste that shot. You've never been so sure of an instant picture.
Perfect. But isn't it expensive?
No, but wasting film in bad light is. Besides, you never buy flash or extra batteries.
How'd they get that sun in there?
They did it at night.
You've never been so sure.
Yes, New York, I think we have that information coming in.
These busy executives in 3 different cities are all at the same conference, a teleconference. They solve their problems without leaving the office through the Bell Network, the world's most advanced information management system. That reduces travel, cuts costs, gets more done. You are also part of the network. Use it. Put our knowledge to work for you. The Information Management Network from Bell.
Saturday NCAA college football action as Nebraska attacks Missouri in a Big 8 battle. Minnesota tackles 6th-ranked Iowa, plus other regional games Saturday on ABC.
That's Los Angeles. Montreal, I guess around 40 today, but the Dodgers winning on Monday, so it's 79 degrees. And the matchup of rookies tonight. Here they are, the youngest starting pitchers in World Series history. You'd have to go back to 1913. Joe Bush at the age of 20.
Well, he went against Jeff Tesreau, who was only 24.
You were there, right?
Probably. I'll tell you, Lasorda has accomplished his big aim. He said the one thing we have to do tonight, speaking of his Dodgers, is get ahead. And they got ahead. And the realization of having to make up a 3-run lead against Valenzuela is a grim one. There's Tommy, just taking it nice and easy now.
Well, that's basically his game plan.
Yeah, say
the 3-run home run.
When Say hits a 3-run home run, he's a genius.
Bob Watson, the batter. A strike. That's Weaver's game plan. Back to long ball.
Exactly. And, you know, but I think a lot of the writers were saying down on the field, that, and it's really true, is that the Dodgers, they lose 2 games, everybody's bad-mouthing, they're a bad team. I'm not sure that's the case.
Hit in the air to center field and misjudged by Carrero, but it doesn't matter at all. Pedro started in on it, and Watson hits it out. So the Bull, playing in his first World Series, has his second home run in the 3 games.
Now you talk about giving a team an impetus when they've just given up 3 runs. That, my friend Jim Palmer, is the way to do it.
Well, exactly, and you're going to see a high screwball. He just hangs it out over the plate. Watson, a lifetime 300 hitter, also can hit the ball a long way. Might even be an out in Yankee Stadium, but in Dodger Stadium, it's over the fence.
3-1 as Rick Cerrone stands in and looks at a screwball for a strike.
In both innings so far, Valenzuela is getting his pitches up. And it's interesting you think about impetus, Howard, is when your team scores 3 runs, you want to go out there and shut them down.
It's a deep left field and into the corner. And it's a fair ball bouncing back to Baker. The throw coming into second, but not in time. And Cerrone just misses a home run. The very low fence in the left field corner.
I think we're going to see an argument here.
Dodgers got a big break there because I thought it was a home run.
Batting 7.
Lemon going out to challenge.
Third baseman, Aurelio.
The fence
Rodriguez.
very low, and the fans can reach over in addition. We'll take another look at it here.
It's a high fastball. It's not a bad pitch as far as being off the plate, but I think it illustrates, and here you see the ball. You have 6 umpires in a World Series, so he's right out there. Looks like it hits the top of the railing.
The pipe on the top of the fence. And back in. Correct call.
Let's see this angle. This is why, and somebody questioned me before the game. Again, the old question, the value of the replay. Oh, look at it. What'd you see?
Right off the railing.
Off the pipe. As Baker plays it perfectly. Cerrone winds up with a double. And Aurelio Rodriguez swings and misses. So the call made by the left field umpire, Larry Barnett of the American League. Cerrone at second base. Nobody out, second inning. 3-1 Dodgers. Aurelio Rodriguez, long career with California and Detroit, and now finally in a World Series.
Now that was a Valenzuela pitch.
Who was it yesterday who said, doubting Valenzuela's age, that Rodriguez probably faced him 10 years ago in the Mexican League?
I asked him if he had any of his, they're both from Mexico, if he had any of his Mexico scouts give him a report.
Hit in the air to right field and deep enough to advance the runner. Cerrone will tag. Monday makes the catch. And Rick will move along 90 feet to third with 1 down. In the Dodger bullpen, Dave Goltz throwing here in the second inning.
Number 18.
Rodriguez did his job. didn't get to hit the right field, but he got the runner to third base, and if they can get the run in here, they're right back in the ballgame.
They certainly are, and what's interesting is that Fernando hasn't looked any part of the Fernando Valenzuela. Jackson made an interesting point to me before the game. He said, "What's all the hullabaloo?" He said, "I'm not knocking this kid," but he was 8-0, and he finished the year 13-7. Somewhere along the way, point Jackson was making, he began to become known to the hitters.
Larry Milbourne fouling it at the plate. Manager of the Giants right there, Frank Robinson.
What a great man. I'll tell you.
Great player, too.
Yes, sirree.
Right here in 1966, back-to-back home runs. Brooks and Frank in the first inning put us out in front against Drysdale when I played for the Orioles.
I sometimes felt he won you half your 248 career victories.
And I took every one of them, too, Howard. I'm well aware that most of the hitters won my games.
1-1 the count. Dodger infield is back, and it's outside. 2-1 the count. Say, even with a bag at third, everybody else is back. So a ground ball anywhere except to the third baseman would score Cerrone.
And that's unusual. I'm surprised not to see Garvey playing in because he doesn't have a whole lot of power, Milbourne, to right field, and he can lay a bunt down the first base line and get that run in, and they're back in the game.
He goes that way and hits it through for a base hit. So it's 3-2 as Cerrone comes in to score. Valenzuela in trouble in the first inning, worked out with a double play. Now the homer by Watson, the double and near homer by Cerrone, a long drive by Rodriguez, and a line single by Milbourne.
Remember what we said before the contest or at the very advent of it. The way to hit the Valenzuela screwball is exactly the way Milbourne just did.
Well, that was a fastball, but I basically, when you face Fernando, like you said, you're looking for a ball away. And you got to give the Yankees credit for getting back into the game, but basically, Fernando is not making good pitches. They're all up in the strike zone. I don't care if they're up or not. You still have to hit them, but for him to be successful, he's going to have to get the ball down.
Righetti lets it go by. Up there to bunt, the count 1-1 with Say in shallow at third. Garvey has been charging on the last two pitches from first. Dodgers 3, Yankees 2 in the second inning. 1 out. Milbourne at first base. Righetti already squaring and laying one down. That'll advance the runner. Garvey will go back to Lopes covering 3-4 on the sacrifice. And Milbourne is in scoring position with 2 down. To the top of the order now, and Willie Randolph, who drew a walk in the first inning.
Playing awfully good baseball. Rodriguez got him over. Milbourne went the other way when he saw the right side of the infield back. Righetti couldn't bunt in batting practice, just sacrificed him over. Base hit here, and their game's tied.
1-run ball game so quickly.
Randolph takes inside, ball 1.
Righetti did his job.
First time he's had a bat in his hands this year.
Might be ever. He's so young that I think they had the DH in the International League. May never have hit before.
2-0. Going back to high school, he played a lot of outfield and first base.
Had a good swing. I watched him in batting practice. A good extension, had a little bit of power.
Righetti, if you want to know, batted in 1977 in the minor leagues.
Huh. Oh, that's amazing.
2-0 pitch is outside, ball 3.
Oh, is this guy struggling?
3-0, Jerry Mumphrey on deck. Gold still throwing in the Dodger bullpen. There he is. Taking all the way, and it's a strike on the corner, 3-1.
Wasn't an easy strike to hit either.
No, but Willie did his job. He kind of ducked it. Borderline high strike. But as we've said, Randolph's very capable of doing that every time he comes up to the plate.
And outside for ball 4. So Valenzuela has walked his third man. That's the second time he's issued a walk to Randolph. Runners at first and second, and Jerry Mumphrey will be coming up.
Once again, Larry Milbourne's name comes up in the middle of a Yankee rally. He has simply been amazing. But then little Brian Doyle was in the '78 World Series when Randolph was out. Right men, right place, right time.
A strike. There have been some shortstops in recent years who have become celebrities during World Series. Kiko Garcia 2 years ago with Baltimore.
Yes, had a great series. Bucky Dent. And again, you see a high breaking ball. I think the one advantage the Yankees have, and even Fernando has, is that Tommy Cesar is going to leave him out there because he's their ace. And if you're going to get beat, I guess you want to get beat with Valenzuela. But the Yankees, he's making bad pitches.
Fouled away. Certainly the inclination, Jim, would have to be to go a lot longer with Valenzuela than with maybe any other pitcher on the staff.
I would think so. I'm surprised we don't see Bob Welch warming up.
Bob Welch will start tomorrow.
That's a good reason why we're not seeing him.
There he is. He'll be heard from tomorrow.
1-2 pitch is fouled away. Mumphrey staying alive. Dodgers 3, Yankees 2. We're in the second inning. Tommy has already paced about a half mile.
He's a little nettled.
Well, he keeps seeing Fernando getting ahead of the hitters and throwing high fastballs. I think he hasn't seen him do that very often this year.
Mumphrey backing away. And a 1-2 delivery. Fastball away and low. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, the count. Weekly hit back to the mound on a hop. Valenzuela throws him out, and that's that for the Yankees. But they come up with a couple of runs. 3 hits, including the home run by Bob Watson after 1.5. 3-2, Dodgers.
Trust the leader in technology to forge a new legend, Seiko LaSalle. Trust Seiko to fuse slim elegance and peerless performance, new Seiko LaSalle. Trust Seiko to create timepieces destined for a place among the world's great possessions. Seiko LaSalle. Miracles of slimness, marvels of technology. No wonder people trust Seiko more than any other watch. Seiko at your authorized dealer.
Oh, Mr. Goodwrench, can I get a tune-up?
Sure can.
What's that?
Your written estimate.
Mr. Goodwrench wants you to know in advance just about how much the job will cost. He has the GM training and tools available to do the job right.
Gee, that's reasonable.
Mr. Goodwrench knows our customers don't like surprises.
Keep that great GMP
where Mr. Goodwrench works.
With genuine GM parts.
Dear Atari Anonymous, my son Boris has a missile command problem.
My mission in life is to save all of mankind.
Lately, my daughter has developed a similar problem with Atari warlords. Now, with video pinball, my husband is acting funny lately. With Atari games so ingenious, so involving, so intense, I ask you, Atari Anonymous, is this problem contagious?
Tomorrow night, a male stripper gets things steamy on the Love Boat. Then an amateur magician conjures up the trick of a lifetime.
What is your desire?
Fantasy Island.
Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Symmetrical ballpark, 330 down the lines.
Batting ninth, number
395
34.
to the straightaway center, about 377 to what would normally be the alleys. There are markings that say 370 and 385 at various spots along the wall. It's his town. There's no question about that.
There's also no question about the fact that he has been a very shaky pitcher for 2 innings. He has thrown 50 pitches, 25 in each inning.
And he leads off here by looking at a strike.
And he's lucky to have only 2 runs scored against him. And in a moment, Jim Palmer will explain why Mumphrey hit so weakly back to the Bucks.
Well,
0-2 on Fernando.
Okay, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, he made a pretty good pitch. And number two, Mumphrey's trying to pull the ball. You cannot go up there.
Can't do it. He turned the wrists over. Manny Mota says on the same team as Fernando. The way to hit him is keep those wrists straight and go to the opposite field if you're a right-handed hitter.
Of course, Manny was talking about the way they tried to hit Tommy John.
Same thing.
On
Same
Wednesday
principle.
night. Very hard to hit him by trying to pull the ball. That's why Nettles is a star every time he pitches.
Meanwhile, Righetti
Also because he has a great glove.
We're talking about the number of pitches being thrown. Righetti has already thrown 38. 36 of those in the first inning. Missing away here, and the count 1-2 on Fernando, who is probably the best hitting pitcher on the Dodgers staff. Hit .250 during the regular season, drove in 7 runs. 1-2.
There is Greg Nettles. Says he's a quick healer. You heard him say that. And doesn't think he'll be lost for the rest of the series.
1-2 to Valenzuela. Fouled away. What will be forgotten over the years, you go back to Monday when the Dodgers beat Montreal in Game 5. Everybody will remember Rick Monday's homer, but Valenzuela was the man who drove in the Dodgers' first run that day with a ground
He may
ball.
still be there.
Yep.
If he hadn't done that.
2-2 the count.
Well, he fought off 2 good breaking balls. Righetti got ahead of him.
Certainly did. He's giving Righetti a battle. Righetti doesn't look sharp either.
3-2 the count. On deck, the top of the order, Davey Lopes.
I think psychologically, the first thing I ever learned when I came into baseball was you never want to walk the opposing pitcher, which he just did there.
Fernando Valenzuela.
From an 0-2 count. This time I don't think Lemon will be so patient.
And the Yankee pen will stir again. Frazier was up earlier as Davey Lopes comes up. So Valenzuela works his way aboard. There was a great scene earlier this season here at Dodger Stadium. Valenzuela's pitching against the Giants early in the year as Fernando gets the jacket at first base. He's pitching a shutout. He's striking out, I guess, 8 or 9 through 7 innings. He has 3 hits in his first 3 times up. He comes up with a 4th time and grounds out. He goes back to the dugout, and Lasorda gives him the type of look, get out of here. What do I need with you? Frazier in the pen for the Yankees.
Mildly resembles facially Ron Guidry with the mustache.
Much taller. I said, what is Ron doing about 6'4"? I saw him the other day.
Davey Lopes looks at a strike. 0-1.
And there we saw the breaking ball, and as Cerrone says, when he gets in a bad groove with his fastball, and I think he was on Valenzuela, walked him after being 0-2, came back with a breaking ball, was able to throw it for a strike.
Lopes bluffing a bunt to draw Rodriguez in from third and Watson from first, and the count is 1-1.
He appears to be forcing himself.
I'm not so sure about that, Howard, but his problems, as you know, before this season were ones of control. Seems like he's back in that groove now where he's having trouble throwing strikes.
Lopes laying one down, fielded by Cerrone. He looked at second, settles to the out at first. Randolph covers, and Valenzuela moves up 90 feet. 1 away in the second inning.
Shortstop, Bill Russell.
So the Dodgers, who lead 3-2, 1 out, have Valenzuela at second, and Bill Russell bunted for a base hit in the first inning.
Well, in Cerrone's judgment, he had no play. You saw him a couple of seconds ago saying it. No play at second.
Russell takes high ball 1. Most of you know by now, of course, that Russell is playing with a stress fracture of his foot. Somewhat limits his mobility and will require an operation. Hits it toward the middle, but backhanded by Randolph at second. Throws to first for the out, and Valenzuela moves along to third. 2 down. One thing I noticed, Jim, in this series, the Yankee scouting report on the Dodgers is very good as to where the Dodgers are going to hit the ball. The Yankee infielders and outfielders have been positioned almost perfectly 90 to 95% of the time.
I agree with you. It seems that way. I mean, a lot of the balls have been hit very hard in that area, but Randolph plays most hitters up the middle, and there, of course, Righetti made a good place. The ball wasn't hit very hard, but in the first 2 games, they were playing exactly where they should have been.
Baker popping it up, and Watson will make the catch, and that's that for the Dodgers in the second inning. No runs, no hits. Leave Valenzuela at third. We go to the third. 3-2 Dodgers.
Today, Americans are using about 15% less energy per household than they did in 1973. They use energy efficiently. Good news, but there's more. America is discovering more natural gas, fuel for our most efficient major energy system, while gas drilling activity continues to set all-time records. Clean, efficient gas energy. Together with your wise use of all energy, it's the bright spot in America's energy picture, because the future belongs to the efficient.
Canon proudly presents the new AE1 program. For the pro photographer, it's even more advanced. And for pro quarterback Joe Theismann, it's even simpler to use.
Hey, Dad!
No matter how tough the shot, the new program mode automatically sets the camera for the best possible photo.
This new Canon is super.
The new AE1 program, so advanced, it's simple, and more of both. Canon, the official camera of the World Series.
A phenomenon that's puzzled me is why some people settle for the ordinary when they could have the extraordinary. Perhaps its cause is simply a lack of knowledge. Fortunately, I've never had that problem. So choosing a home videotape recorder was relatively easy. I chose the Sony Betamax, for when I observed how it performed so many complex technological functions with such ease and simplicity, I no longer saw a machine. I saw genius.
The genius of Betamax, only from Sony.
Urban terrorism. Is it a new wave of violence or just the last gasp of a few radicals left over from the 60s? We'll look at that story tonight on Nightline.
Dave Winfield will be leading things off for the Yankees in the third inning. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Jim Palmer at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles for Game 3 of the World Series. Day games tomorrow and, if necessary, Sunday. Game 6 and 7, if necessary, back in New York Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Dodgers lead 3-2. Winfield, Piniella, and Watson facing Valenzuela. Winfield drawing a walk his first trip. Valenzuela, who averaged just under 3 walks per 9 innings during the regular season, has walked 3 tonight, has not struck out anybody.
I think the key here is, as we said, Valenzuela is going to have to get the ball down in the strike zone, but the Yankees, if they want to get ahead in this game, are going to have to be patient because they've been getting pitches to hit almost every batter all ball game.
Foul at the plate. 0-1 the count. Should report one of the Dodger rookie relief pitchers, Alejandro Pena, is in the hospital. Taken there this morning with a bleeding ulcer. It was Pena who collapsed in the shower in New York the other night. Came back with the team and hospitalized this morning. Oh, 2 the count.
Is there any roster change because of an injury like that?
Not in the series, no. Go with 24. 0-2 pitch is up high. Ball 1.
Now David, who likes that arm extension and who often hits to right, should be able to cope with Valenzuela.
Possibly. Not if he makes a good pitch, though.
Which
there he is. Perfect.
First strikeout for Valenzuela. 1 gone here in the third inning. Lou Piniella, the batter. Dick Clark has to be, what, 26 years old, Howard?
He is utterly ageless. He's more like 18.
I used to watch him when I was 8. He looks younger than I do.
He'll be the host of
Maybe he is.
American Bandstand's 30th anniversary special, airing Friday, October 30th, 8 to 11 p.m. 30th anniversary of American Bandstand. The kids that were on 30 years ago are going to look older than Clark. Piniella fouling it away. 0-1. Lou hit into a double play in the first inning. He'll be followed by Bob Watson. One out, bases empty. Half swing base hit into center field. Lou guiding the ball over second for a base hit. hit number 4.
Well, we talk about what a gifted hitter Pennell is. Goes with the pitches. Here's just a screwball out over the plate. A little bit up, but not a bad pitch. But Lou's patient. He wants to go to right field or up.
Of course, it's the only way. Yankees have 4 hits. 1 was pulled to left by Cerrone. He got a high fastball. Here is the hitting hero for the Yankees in this World Series thus far.
Bob Watson with a home run his first time up tonight. Looks at a strike. 1-1. Great throw, of course, for Watson, playing in his first World Series after a fine career, mainly spent with Houston and some time at Boston, to play in a World Series and to do it in his hometown. 1-1.
Well, I think he's always been underrated. There's a guy I know that you saw play for some years in Cincinnati, Lee May. Look at his statistics, almost as good as Reggie Jackson, but how many people really know that Lee May had such a fine career?
Great comparison.
Same with Watson.
1-1 pitch. The runner goes, and it's popped up right side. Davey Lopes going out. Pennell will have to hustle back as Lopes makes the catch and throws to Garvey, but not in time. Steve off the bag. So with Pennell going, took Lou an extra moment or 2 to find out where the ball was, and he had to hustle back to avoid getting doubled off.
Not a particularly difficult play, but a play that most second basemen have to be very adept at it. And here Watson, he's a hitting hero. They finally get the fastball up and in on him. It's a hit and run. I don't know if you'll be seen, but Pennell is almost back at second base, and he gets back to first just in time.
Well, it wasn't really close because Garvey was off the base and out toward the beginnings of right field.
Rick Cerrone with a count 1-0. Hitting with 2 out, 3rd inning. The Dodgers got 3 in the first on a 3-run homer by Shea. The runner at first here is Piniella. The Yankees counted with 2 in the second. Watson with a home run. Larry Milbourne drove in Rick Cerrone with a second run. Hit high in the air to deep left center field. Guerrero going back and out of room. Gone.
Well,
so Rick Cerrone, who just missed a home run, hitting the pipe along the top of the fence and settling for a double, makes sure of this one. And the Yankees are on top 4-3.
You could see it coming. Rick, the only Yankee batter to get around, and he's gotten around twice.
And here you see another screwball. It was down, but down the middle, and it's drilled to left center.
Rick hit only 2 during the regular season, and tonight he has 1 7/8.
Now we've got to find George Steinbrenner.
Rodriguez making high, ball 1.
Remember all the fuss that was made about the verbal altercation?
I know they only won 6 games in a row since then.
That's right.
Strike at the count, 1-1.
Dodger Stadium is benefiting the Yankees at the moment because that belt by Cerrone would not have been close to a home run at Yankee Stadium.
The 1-1 pitch is up and away, and the count 2-1. Those are numbers you don't often see through 2 2/3 for Fernando. Hit weakly back over the mound. Lopes will have a tough play and throws it by Garvey and into the photographer's well. And Rodriguez will be given second base. Little chopper. It got by Fernando and over him, and Lopes can't
Well, he
throw him
has
out.
plenty of time, Al, and he just makes a bad throw. Garvey is supposed to be known for scooping balls. Just does not come up with it. Not a very good throw, but if things are going well, that's the kind of play that you make.
It's an error all the way on Davey Lopes. And now they have ruled it a base hit, an infield single, and a throwing error to give him second as Larry Milbourne gets an intentional walk. They'll take their chances with Righetti. So with first base open, they'll put Larry on.
By the way, the official scorers for this game are 3 sports writers. Red Foley of the New York Daily News, Chris Mortensen of the Torrance Daily Breeze, And Tracy
Ringlesby.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Ringlesby of the Seattle Post-Intelligence.
I'll tell you one thing. If they had scores that were that liberal, you'd have 400 hitters because that's an obvious error. But I'm sure Milbourne's happy about it. Excuse me.
Rodriguez. Righetti, the batter. 2 on, 2 out. Yankees ahead 4-3. Valenzuela starts him with a breaking pitch for a strike. 1-1.
And here you see the difference between the American and National League. With the DH in the American League, you wouldn't have the pitcher coming up. This is a way for Fernando to get out of this inning and still be in the ballgame.
0-2.
Yeah, but the commissioner of baseball has to get into the act, it seems to me, sooner or later. This game must be made uniform. Either you have the DH or you don't.
That's 100% right. That's everybody's sentiments.
Got him swinging. So down he goes on 3 pitches, but before the Yankees go out in the 3rd inning, they do some heavy damage. Cerrone with a home run, 2 runs, 3 hits, an error, leave 2 after 2.5. 4-3 Yanks.
Okay, move him out.
If you've got goods to deliver and your trucks don't seem to care, if your peak season comes and your trucks are past their peak, then it's Ryder to the rescue. Ryder rents trucks, from small vans up to giant tractors, to move your products or your family.
Ain't they beautiful?
When your trucks are giving up, Ryder trucks are just starting up.
Gentlemen, this meeting is called to decide which one of us is the most popular light beer drinker of all.
Must be talking about me.
I vote for my buddy, Boog Powell.
Should I take the minutes?
You can take all year.
Hey, I cast my vote for Billy Martin.
I'll second that.
Me too.
Excuse me, this chart clearly shows what a little showing off can do.
Now, wait a minute. I'm the most popular guy here. Gentlemen, we a little respect. At least we agree that light beer for Miller tastes great.
Let's do it! Tastes great! Let's do it! Tastes great! Let's do it!
Better make it a secret ballot.
Could we vote for Red Auerbach?
Please.
What? I'm voting for me.
Count the vote, and that's no joke.
All right. Gentlemen, we have a winner.
Says here the winner is Bubba Smith.
I knew this was a bad idea.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I'm Irma Bombeck, and I've created a new comedy about Maggie, a devoted wife and mother.
I wish you would not refer to your grandchildren as Cain and Abel.
Meet Maggie, premiering tomorrow.
Going to the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3rd game of the 1981 World Series before a sold-out crowd at Dodger Stadium. The Yankees leading in the series 2-0 and leading tonight 4-3. The Dodgers to send up Steve Garvey, Ron Cey, and Pedro Guerrero.
Now that Lemon has not only gotten back into the game, but the Yankees have taken the lead, he's not going to be that much more patient with Righetti. On the other hand, Lasorda sticks with Valenzuela, which may be a kind of mean, silent memorandum on what he thinks of his bullpen.
Steve Garvey looks at a strike. 0-1. Garvey struck out in the 1st inning. One and 1 to count.
And you know he wants to get Garvey out. He doesn't want Cey coming up with somebody on again. Of course, that's easier said than done. Man, it gets 200 hits over 6 times in his career.
Garvey going the other way and hitting it foul. Well, back into the 1st level. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Yankees with their 3rd straight left-hander. Guidry started game 1. John game 2. Righetti tonight. It's the first time that's happened since 1918. And the team has gone with 3 successive lefties at the outset of a World Series.
First time the Dodgers have faced 3 successive lefties this year. One stretch of 43 games, they didn't face a lefty. They only faced 4 lefties in the whole 2nd season.
Up and into Garvey in the count of 3-2.
I asked Steve Yeager, who's been catching for the Dodgers against left-handers, Have you ever played 3 out of 4 days this year? I said, are you kidding me? They only got about 60 at-bats all year.
Bouncing ball toward third, and it's a foul ball. Fielded by Rodriguez, but no play. Foul ball at third. So Garvey comes back 3-2. I guess if you're going to play 3 games in a row, though, and you might as well be in the World Series. Steve Yeager, it's been a very frustrating year, obviously, for him, sitting on the bench much of the time as Mike Scioscia has done the catching.
If ever a game tells the uncertainties of baseball as a game, this one does. Who would have expected? Bottom of the third. 4-3 in a slugging contest with 2 great young pitchers expected to dominate the game, but neither one doing so. Who would have expected Hearns would become a boxer and Leonard the slugger?
Garvey fouling it away. 2 pitchers tonight who are prime candidates for Rookie of the Year, but neither playing the part thus far.
Well, it's more easily explained why Fernando could be struggling because of the tough games he's had. Righetti's had plenty of rest. I think he's had 6 days between his last start.
Ripped into center field for a base hit. So Steve Garvey has his 4th hit of the series, and the Dodgers have the leadoff man on in the third.
Here comes Ron Cey, and here's what the Penguin did last time up. First inning, 2 men on, 2 out. And deep in, 15 rows up, left field seats, the Dodgers had achieved a 3-0 lead. And Lasorda said, that's what we've got to do, get out front. But they couldn't stay out front. It's 4-3 Yankees at this moment. Here we go again.
Cey up with Garvey at first base. Nobody out. 1-0 in the Dodger bullpen. That's Tom Niedenfuhr, who pitched very well in relief in Game 1, and Frazier is still throwing in the Yankee bullpen back of Righetti. The 1-0 to Cey. Low, ball 2. 2-0 count.
Your overthrow, Howard, as you were talking about earlier.
Forcing himself. He's lost his, at least for this occasion.
Well, he told us in the interview that he was going to go right after him. And then when a guy takes one of your better fastballs and hits it 18 or 15 rows up in the seats, and you get 1-0, you throw a breaking ball. And then when you go behind 2-0, you try to throw a little bit harder than you're maybe capable of doing.
If Cey gets on, I would suggest that you'll see Mr. Lemon rather promptly.
3-1 on Cey. Garvey at first base and nobody out. Bottom of the third inning. Yankees ahead 4-3. He loses him. So Righetti has now walked 2. He's also hit a man. Here comes Lemon. He's given up 5 hits. And Pedro Guerrero will be coming up. So the second visit tonight for Lemon, who's had Frazier up.
This is not a visit.
3 occasions, and that will do it for Righetti.
This is a dismissal notice.
So Andre Frazier, who, as Howard pointed out, pitched very well in that blowout in New York, the second game of the American League Championship Series against the Oakland A's. Frazier coming in, and we'll be right back at Dodger Stadium.
Nice shot, Billy.
You're a good teacher, Mr. Watson.
Well, I'm a professional, but not at everything. When it comes to stocks and bonds, I'm just another amateur. So I go to the professionals at E.F. Hutton. Taxes and inflation are just 2 of the hazards they've helped me out of. No one wants to see their money go to the dogs.
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Ergonomics, the relationship of man to machine, a science practiced in the creation of Chevrolet Cavalier. It provides an inner sanctum of precisely placed instrumentation for immediate readout, and reclining front seats even provide comfort to 6'6" members of the human race. Chevrolet Cavalier. Mastery of mind over matter.
Now get bigger savings with even lower 12.9% financing.
Now there's a place where they have their own authorized mechanics, quality parts and service, and prices you can afford. Now there's K-Care, found only at Kmart.
Why not change to the tire you don't have to change? The KM Special Radial, with 2 fiberglass belts and aggressive tread design. Goes through rain, mud, and snow, yet rides smooth on highways. Now the KM Special is sale priced as low as $31.97. Hey, we'll even rotate them every 5,000 miles at no charge. That's K-Care, only at Kmart.
Saturday NCAA college football action as Nebraska attacks Missouri in a Big 8 battle. Minnesota tackles 6th-ranked Iowa, plus other regional games Saturday on ABC.
George Frazier, the new Yankee pitcher, as you can see, one postseason game. That was Game 2 in the American League Championship Series when the Yankees blew away the A's, and he was very effective in relief that day. Coming in here in a situation where the Dodgers have Garvey at second and Ron Say at first. Nobody out, 3rd inning, and the Yankees holding on to a 4-3 advantage. Pedro Guerrero. Coming up here, Watson ready to charge in for a prospective bunt from first. And Rodriguez, as you can see, shallow at 3rd. Rick Monday is the man on deck. Guerrero up there to bunt, takes outside, ball 1.
And there you saw Frazier's sinker, the good sinker ball pitcher. Just a sinker ball slider pitcher. Keeps the ball down, usually induces the other team to hitting a lot of ground balls.
Guerrero already squaring and bunts foul at the plate. 1-1. Frazier, who was acquired by the Yankees this season from the Cardinal organization, got into 16 games with New York, lost his only decision, but he had a fine ERA, 1.63, and picked up 3 saves.
He pitched a lot in September when Gossage was hurt for a while. Did a fine job, as you said.
He did. A man who has had at best a nondescript career, started in the Texas Ranger organization, was with the Brewer chain for a while, and then up and down over the last 3 years with the Cardinals. Guerrero lays one down toward 3rd with foul, and the count is 1-2.
I'll tell you an interesting story about why they brought Frazier up as you look at a troubled Tom Lasorda. What he really said just then was Guerrero can't bunt, but we learned that the other day. Anyway, Gabe Paul, former president of the Yankees, who now runs the Indians, was discussing some potential trades with George Steinbrenner, the Yankee owner. And we'll continue the story after this pitch. Let's play develops.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Guerrero. Rodriguez and Watson have now moved back with 2 strikes. And a breaking ball is popped up in foul ground. Watson going over, might have a play, but no. During the regular season, he might have had a play on that for sure, but you've got a temporary area there with 3 rows of seating, and that took any chance away from Watson as you look at the people occupying the temporary seats.
Quickly to resume the story, Phil Segui, who was under Gabe Paul with the Indians, saw something in Frazier at Columbus. So as they were discussing a sequence of potential deals, Paul said, why don't you throw in that kid Frazier? Steinbrenner is no dope. He knows Paul knows people.
Down goes Guerrero.
Big pitch. And within a matter of days, George Frazier was brought up by the Yankees.
Well, here you see a low and away sinker. You can't make a much better pitch. Guerrero swings right through it. You saw the ball go right underneath his bat, and it's just a matter of execution. They called on Mercer to bunt the other night. They got their 2nd and 3rd runs because of that.
So the runners remain at 1st and 2nd. Garvey at 2nd and Say at 1st, and Rick Monday is the batter. Monday reaching on an infield single in the 1st inning.
And this is the kind of pitcher that Rick Monday is effective against because he likes the ball down in the strike zone, and Frazier's a low ball pitcher.
Monday inside outs it to left field, relatively deep but playable, and Winfield makes the catch, and the runners have to hold. 2 down in the 3rd inning.
Let's see if he lets Yeager hit for himself.
I would think we'd see Socha because After Frazier, you're probably going to see Ron Davis and Gossage.
You will see Scioscia. Mike moving over toward the bat rack.
Oh, does this burn Yeager up? Oh.
Well, he wants the Dodgers to win, and he knows what his role is. He hadn't played all year. I doubt if he's sitting there thinking that he ought to be playing right now. You'd like to see Scioscia come up and get a base hit.
That's exactly why he wants to get out of here, Jim. He thinks he should be playing right now.
So Mike Scioscia, who took over this year as the Dodgers' regular catcher in his first full season. His numbers there, but hitless, as you can see, in his last 12 at-bats in postseason play. Dodgers, in a way, Howard, undergoing a transformation period, maybe just at the outset of it right now. Scioscia has already taken over as the basic everyday catcher, despite Yeager's presence in this series. Lopes a question mark. Russell along the same lines, too.
Who takes over for the whole infield? What about the Penguin?
I think Garvey will be there a while if he signs.
Yeah, he'll be there a while, but...
Well, they have Steve Sachs at second, who came out and played well. I think they have a shortstop down at Albuquerque that played well.
But it takes time to bring up guys and bring them along who can become a Garvey, a Lopes in his prime, a Say.
So Scioscia coming up here with 2 out, 2 on, bottom of the 3rd inning, 4-3 Yankees.
And if Aguero bunts him over, the game's tied. And again, we go back to...
That's right. That fly ball would have scored him. 0-1.
A reminder, Frazier's not out of this inning yet.
No, he isn't.
Any more than Righetti was with Say.
0-2 the count.
That was a sinker. Wonder what Yeager thinks when he sees 2 quick strikes.
Well, he saw he just threw him 2 excellent curveballs, and I don't think Scioscia knew he probably. I don't know if they have a scouting report, but he's never faced Frazier that I know of, and comes off and breaks 2 good curveballs right off the table.
They dipped.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do.
0-2 to Scioscia. Is hit in the air, but curling and going foul. By the way, it's 6:55 here in Los Angeles. So much for pitching in the twilight. The sky is black and the lights have full effect. And we're in the 3rd inning. Where we'll have a twilight problem is on Sunday.
Well, 11 base hits and innumerable walks have taken care of that.
Steve Yeager. Right in the middle with the glasses.
No balls, 2 strikes to count. He reaches out, grounds it to short. Milburn with a long throw, and he gets him. So the Dodgers, with 2 on, nobody out, can't score. We've played 3 full. It stays 4-3 Yankees.
Fire it in.
It's the season premiere of the greatest American hero.
You guys ever had a dream?
Baseball's got a new legend and a super fastball that could bring the World Series home. Then, in a special 2-hour premiere.
Who are you?
Lee Majors is Hollywood's hottest stuntman.
Sometimes I'm Robert Redford.
Catch a new spirit of action and adventure, The Fall Guy, Wednesday.
We're back live at Dodger Stadium. Steve Yeager has just gone down the runway into the clubhouse. We talked with Yeager openly about his wanting to leave. Direct question, Steve. It's been reported over and over again that this hasn't been a happy year for you. You resent being platooned. Is it true that you want out of here once and for all?
Well, Howard, I am very dissatisfied with not playing every day. I felt that I had a good spring training, and that's what they wanted me to do. And to set the bench and have 86 at-bats all year long, I would like to go someplace and play every day. And that's no reflection on Tom Lasorda, because he's going against the left-handed in the platooning system, or it's no reflection against the management. I just want to play. I do not feel right coming to the ballpark and sitting on the bench and watching everything go on about me.
All right. telling it like it is. Al?
Well, the Dodgers trailing in this one 4-3 as Socha comes out to take over back of the plate in the 4th inning. Valenzuela going to work on the top of the New York Yankee batting order. It'll be Willie Randolph, Jerry Mumphrey, and Dave Winfield. Dodgers getting 3 runs in the first tonight. If you joined us late, Ron Say with a 3-run homer, but the Yankees with 2 in the second, 1 on a home run by Bob Watson, and then 2 more in the third on a 2-run homer by Rick Cerrone, who came within a foot of hitting another home run in the second inning, settling for a double. Randolph drawing 2 walks tonight. Valenzuela has walked 4. One of those was intentional. Willie 0 for 5 in the series thus far. 1-1. Count even, 1-1. In there, the count 1-2, so he gets ahead on Randolph. Something he did in the first inning. Got ahead 0-2, but then lost him.
Well, there you saw his good fastball down in the strike zone. And maybe he can get his act together.
The 1-2 pitch, breaking ball, chopped toward Russell, waits for it, comes up throwing, gets it. 1 out in the 4th inning. This program, an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is Channel 7, KABC TV, Los Angeles.
4th inning at Dodger Stadium in Game 3. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Jim Palmer with you. The Yankees battling from behind and leading 4-3. 1 out in the 4th inning. And Jerry Mumphrey hits a bouncer down to short. Instant replay. 6-3 in the front, 2 down.
This is the first inning. Valenzuela has looked like Valenzuela. Maybe, as Jim says, he can get it together.
Well, he's got 2 outs on 2 good curveballs. I would think that Mumphrey's probably going back to the dugout talking to himself because
he fell prey to the same thing again.
Exactly. Also, he hasn't seen it. He saw a screwball last time, but I think it's probably the only curveball other than the one this inning that he threw to Randolph that he's gotten over all night.
Dave Winfield has walked and struck out. Dave, despite hitting the ball hard on occasion in the series, still hitless, 0 for 8 in the 3 games. 1-0. Now on Winfield.
That last was the pitch Dave swung and missed on for a strikeout his last time at the plate. He's been overeager.
You can see the look on Fernando's face that he knows that he just doesn't really have command of all his pitches tonight.
Winfield taking all the way in the count 3-1. Pop foul, back out of play. And the count full, 3-2.
Winfield. How do you like that for liking a ballpark?
Over a 5-year stretch.
Head of the con man. And Schmidt and Foster.
Kingman hit 3 of them in one night here.
If you don't have control of all of your pitches on a given night, Jim, don't you drop some of it? Adjust?
Well, I think Fernando's done that, but some nights, I mean, he has a few more options than most 20-year-old pitchers.
3-2 pitch is ball 4. So Valenzuela with his 5th walk and 4th unintentional walk, and Lou Piniella coming up. Lou has hit into a double play and single to center.
I think the amazing thing for a 20-year-old pitcher is he knows why he's given up 4 runs tonight. He knows that he hung a screwball to Watson, and he knows that he threw a screwball right down the middle to Cerrone, and right there, 3-2, he just missed with a fastball, but at least he's getting the ball down in the strike zone this inning. You never want to walk somebody with 2 outs, but Winfield, of course, as you saw that graphic, hit 15 home runs here.
But you don't want to walk. You don't want to walk him with 1 out either.
No.
Or with none out.
Piniella lines it to left field, but right at Dusty Baker for the out. For the Yankees here in the 4th. No runs, no hits. Leave Winfield aboard after 3.5. The Yankees on top of the Dodgers. 4-3 as we see it again. The line shot off Pinella's bat right into the glove of Dusty Baker.
Recently, a few extraordinary wines were entered in a prestigious international competition. Wines made from costly varietal grapes, harvested in some of the world's finest growing regions. An oak-aged Chardonnay, a deep, full-flavored Burgundy, a light, dry Chenin Blanc, a varietal Rosé, a spicy Gewürztraminer. And each of these wines, all from a single winemaker, was judged to be among the best of the world.
Silver medal, gold medal, silver, gold, gold medal.
The wines, all from America, all from California, and all from the wine cellars of America's premier vintners, Ernest and Julio Gallo.
Is Gillette Foamy thick and rich enough to stop this super sports car?
No.
Is Foamy thick and rich enough to support this levitating lady?
No.
Is Foamy thick and rich enough to hold back this halfback?
No.
But if you want a clean, close shave, it's more than thick and rich enough.
Bottom of the 4th inning at Dodger Stadium. The Yankees on top 4-3 in Game 3. Valenzuela the leadoff. And then we'll see Lopes and Russell. Frazier on in relief of Righetti for the Yankees. Worked out of trouble in the 3rd. Coming in with runners at 1st and 2nd. And nobody out. Worked out of that. And now he begins against the pitcher here in the 4th. Fernando, a .250 hitter during the regular season. Grounded to short. Milburn on the 2nd hop. 1 gone.
Fernando cost the Dodgers $120,000 after a protracted, complex negotiation conducted by Al Campanis, who went down to Mexico City for the initial meeting with the owner of the Yucatan Ball Club's son. They began at $50,000, and then they went up and up and up to $120,000. He learned to throw and refine the screwball in 1 week's time, according to Campanis. Does that make sense to you, James?
No, I thought Mike Cuellar, who pitched for us for years and had a tremendous screwball, really a great career in Baltimore, tried to teach me in Japan one year when we were over there in '71. I'm still trying to learn. No idea.
Davey Lopes, the batter, 1-0 the count. 1 out, base is empty. Lopes grounding it to 3rd, and Rodriguez does his Nettles imitation and throws him out.
I tell you, Rodriguez he doesn't have an arm, he has a shotgun.
Shortstop. Well, I've been playing for 17 years, and I've never seen anybody with a better arm at 3rd base. If you're going to miss Greg Nettles, I couldn't think of a better backup 3rd baseman to have. And here you see you can't really see the speed of the throw, but he has an accurate, strong arm. Much stronger than Nettles.
Right.
2 down. Bill Russell, the batter, bunted for a base hit and grounded out. 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Yankees. 3 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for the Dodgers with 2 out in the 4th. 1-0 the count on Russell. There's Nettles alongside Bobby Mercer off his right shoulder.
Saw the bandage on Greg's thumb.
2-0 the count.
Nettles, of course, sidelined. He jammed his thumb. X-rays taken. No break. Said as he described the injury to us, he felt it go crunch on a grounder by Russell.
Bill looks at a strike. The 2-1 pitch. And it's 3-1. Dusty Baker.
And there's Reggie still sidelined. He really wanted to give it a go today. He was determined. He said, even if it's the last game I play. Strike 2.
Full count.
But wisdom set in the late going.
And here you see a 3-1 fastball. Russell would like to walk, give Baker a chance to come up. The ball comes back. 3-2 pitch right here.
Fouled away, so we'll do it again. Howard, what odds would you give on Jackson being back with the Yankees next year?
Knowing George, I'd say 50-50, maybe 60-40 that he would be back.
Reggie Jackson will be able to test the market if that's what he desires. 3-2 pitch, line by diving Rodriguez for a base hit. Winfield getting it back in, so Russell is 2 for 3 tonight, and that's his 3rd hit in the World Series.
Here you see a high fastball. Rodriguez doesn't have time to get it into left field for a base hit. I think a general philosophy of pitchers is when you run the count to 3-2, you don't want to walk them. You want to take advantage of your fielders and hope that the ball is hit at someone. That one, of course, wasn't.
Dusty Baker has popped out twice. Baker in the World Series is 1 for 8. Up and in. The hit by Russell, the first off Frazier. Russell at first base, held aboard by Watson with 2 down in the 4th inning. Baker hits a curve on the ground to Rodriguez. He'll go the easy way to Randolph for the force. And that's that for the Dodgers in the 4th inning. No runs, a hit, leave 1. Through 4 it remains. Yankees 4, Dodgers 3.
Recently, I had troubles with my most trusted employee, me. I was spending too much time getting out mailings, presentations, invoices. I wasn't pulling my weight, so I did what I had to do. I replaced me with a Xerox small copier. It makes copies right on my letterhead, and mailing labels, and even copies bills like this, and it works for a lot less than I did. I should have fired me years ago.
Right. Be more productive. Call Xerox.
United announces great low prices on complete Hawaii vacation packages. Prices that bring Hawaii closer. From the East Coast. Closer. From the Midwest. Closer. From every city United serves. United. Once-in-a-lifetime prices. For a once-in-a-lifetime vacation.
Fly the friendly skies.
Yes, sir. I'd like to have this 35mm film developed.
Well, you're in the right place.
Well, just a minute. Do you use Kodak paper?
Sure. Look on the back of this photo. See, this paper manufactured by Kodak. We use Kodak paper because we believe in quality.
Yes, but how can I be sure to get it every time?
Well, just ask for it here. Where you see the sign, the one with old, what's his name on it?
Old what's his name?
I was just kidding, Big Joe.
Urban terrorism. Is it a new wave of violence or just the last gasp of a few radicals left over from the 60s? We'll look at that story tonight on Nightline.
First
Back with you tomorrow for Game 4. The probable pitchers, Rick Russell for the Yankees and Bob Welch for the Dodgers. Tomorrow afternoon, Game 4 here. 5th game is necessary. We'll do it Sunday afternoon. 6 and 7 if necessary back in New York on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Game 3, the Yankees on top 4-3. Go to the 5th inning. Watson, Cerrone, and Rodriguez. Watson homered, popped out. 2 home runs in the series thus far. Goes down the line and right. It's curling and staying fair and bouncing into the corner and touched by a fan reaching out for a ground rule double.
He is really having a ball. That's his 6th hit of the World Series. What a touchdowns in the sky, old-timer.
Well, the book on him is to throw him inside. That ball doesn't get in. You just can't pitch him in the middle of the plate. He's too good a hitter to do that, and doesn't hit the ball that hard, but goes to right field as well as anybody in the league. And here you see the ball with that kind of spin. It's going to kick right. And I think you'll see a fan. Well, you didn't see it, but a fan reached over and interfered.
Watson is now 16 for 38 in the Yankees postseason play. That's .421. The new Mr. October. Rick Cerrone takes outside, ball 1.
And we'll see if Cerrone does his job and gets him to third base by trying to go to the right side. You saw Valenzuela throw a breaking ball. A lot of times when you have a right-handed hitter up there, a left-handed pitcher, throw that breaking ball, he hits it to third, and you keep the runner at second.
Valenzuela still on thin ice. Lasorda still not going to the bullpen.
1-1 in the bullpen. Niedenfuhr throwing for the 2nd time.
With his recent effective performance for a couple of 3 innings, maybe Lasorda will place some renewed confidence in him.
When I talked to Tom, he was happy. He said great pitch in the World Series, even better when you get your breaking ball over. Makes that fastball a little bit more effective.
1-1 pitch is outside. 2-1 the count on Cerrone. Rick just missing a home run as you look at Watson, the runner at second. Cerrone just missing a home run in the 2nd inning, hitting it off the top of the left field fence for a double. And then drove 1 out in the 3rd. Cerrone's hits tonight, his 1st in the series. 2-2.
There you saw him try to take that screwball and go the other way with it.
Why don't you ask me what I think of the chances of Cerrone staying with the Yankees?
What do you think are the chances of Cerrone staying with the Yankees?
On a scale of 10? 10.
You're going to qualify it all the way, no question, huh? Okay, what about Guidry?
I have grave doubts there.
2-2 pitch is fouled away. All right, Guidry on a scale of 1 to 10.
Staying with the Yankees?
Staying with the Yankees.
If his manager sharply reduces the salary demands, the chances would probably be on a scale of 10, 7, or 8. But under existing conditions, I would think it'd be on a 4.
All right, I have one more for you. Bob Lemon on a scale of 1
Bob
to 10.
Lemon's back.
Definitely?
Back.
Okay. 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. So Cerrone can't move the runner over. He's gone on strikes. That's number 3 for Valenzuela. And it brings up Aurelio Rodriguez, setting up an interesting matchup with Valenzuela facing Rodriguez. Only one other Mexican player has ever played in a World Series. That was Bobby Avila of Cleveland back in 1954.
Don't remind Lemon of that.
Indians and the Giants.
It was Avila who was at the 247-foot mark at the old Polo Grounds in front of the right field fence, right by the foul line, waiting for Dusty Rhodes' pop fly to come down. It came down in the first row, and it beat Bob Lemon in the opening game of the '54 World Series.
Rodriguez fouling it away.
And the usually imperturbable Lemon became a study in violence.
You know, there was a great scene out here yesterday. You talk about Bob Lemon at a workout. The Yankees came out here yesterday after flying in. And normally the manager, not normally, always, the manager suits up for a workout. But not Lem. He just sat in the dugout in his suit.
I thought he was a sports writer.
0-1 pitch. When the rest of the count is 0-2.
But I knew he wasn't because other writers were talking to him, and I know they don't talk among themselves.
Well, after giving up an inning-opening double to Watson, suddenly Valenzuela has thrown perhaps better than he has all game. Striking out Cerrone and now getting a 2-strike count.
Well, it really helps him to pitch
Rodriguez.
ahead. He got ahead. He got to count 2-2 to Cerrone and threw a pretty good screwball outside part of the plate, down, swung right through it. And now you can see what he's going to do here. Rodriguez again likes the ball out over the plate.
0-2 pitch is out over the plate, but bounced down to Davey Lowe. That'll advance the runner. 2 down as Bob Watson scampers over to third. 2 away, and Larry Milburn coming up. Milburn with a base hit to drive in the run in the second inning, and walked intentionally in the third.
And I think we'll probably see him get walked intentionally again.
And Socha putting up the hand, and he will be. So Milburn will get aboard for the third time. Larry, who has played well for the Yankees in the absence of Dan, actually started in your organization, Jim, with Baltimore, though he never made it up to the big club. He was with the Giants, the Angels, and the Cardinals, but never made it up to those clubs, just played in their organizations, and was finally drafted by Houston after the '73 season, went to Seattle, and now he's found a home.
Sure has. I think there's any doubt of any player's capabilities of playing well in a World Series, it would, especially for the Yankees, would be Larry Milburn. But he's hit, got the clutch hit Wednesday night to drive in the winning run. Made some great plays. Misplayed 1 ball, but Tommy John came up with a great play and a strikeout to bail him out there.
Gentlemen, I've decided I like the designated hitter rule once and for all.
You do.
More action.
Frazier, the batter. Frazier hitting for the first time this season, but the graphic showing 1 for 4. Of course, he came over from the National League, where he did come to bat on occasion with the Cardinals, though it doesn't look like it with that swing. 0-1.
He waited on that swing till the ball was past him.
Well, he's trying to go to right field, Howard.
That's true.
I'm not so sure. I think he's just trying to swing, and if he hits it, it will be deemed a success.
Put it in play. 0-2 the count.
After that swing, I think he is just trying to put it in play.
Create some action, any kind of action.
I figure not having a pitcher come up in the American League costs a pitcher, if he pitches somewhere between 250 to 300 innings, maybe 60 or 70 strikeouts a year. And here's a perfect example again. If you get this guy out, you're still in the game. And if you had to face a bona fide hitter, it makes it much more difficult.
Strike 3. Gets him on 3. Valenzuela ends the 5th inning with his 4th strikeout. Yankees threaten to come up empty. No runs to hit. Leave a couple. We've played 4 1/2. And it's still Yankees 4, Dodgers 3.
People trust Seiko technology for bold sports watches that perform brilliantly, even 100 meters beneath the sea. People trust Seiko for slim dress watches with every timekeeping function you'll probably ever need. People trust Seiko for watches that are as finely crafted as they are technologically advanced. In fact, people trust Seiko more than any other watch. At your authorized dealer.
Do you sit around on weekends thinking you're relaxing? Well, think about this. Recreation can be more relaxing and refreshing than sitting around. So come on, make the best of your recreation time with AMF. We make Voight balls, head, tennis rackets, skis, and sportswear. AMF bowling equipment.
I've been thinking about doing that for a long time.
AMF. We make weekends.
Blow away everything you ever heard about pickups and meet the revolutionary new size Chevy S10. There's never been a truck like it before.
Chevy S10.
Longer than the imports.
But smaller than full-size pickups.
There's never been a truck like it before.
Never!
Big, roomy cab.
And heavier payload than many standard full-size pickups.
Chevy S10.
The new size Chevy S10. Order yours today. There's never been a truck like it before.
Never!
Chevy is the power in trucks.
A reminder tonight, Nightline will focus on the reemergence of violence of underground radicals in the United States. Ted Koppel talks with radical lawyer William Kunstler tonight on Nightline. Following your late local news on ABC. Bottom of the 5th inning, the Yankees leading 4-3 with Garvey, Say, and Guerrero. George Frazier on in relief of the starter Dave Righetti. He's worked 2 innings, hasn't given up a run, yielded just 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Garvey has struck out and singled. Steve with 4 hits in the series. 1-0.
Crowd grows restive, trying to get something started here.
Garvey popping it foul back of first, but that will drift back out of play. 1-1. Dodger Stadium, of course, sold out. Nothing new. That happens very frequently during the regular season. Only franchise to ever draw more than 3 million, and they would have done it this year. They were certainly on that pace were it not for the strike. As it was, they were up and over the 2 million figure, losing 1/3 of their home dates. Classic ballpark. Built in 1962, and did they ever have foresight? Opened in 62, started building it in 60.
Looks the same as when I was here in 1966. And they keep it so clean, I think you could eat off the hallways.
Garvey hits a chopper that Rodriguez gloves, comes up throwing, but pulls Watson off. Garvey had it beaten anyway. So a chopping infield single for Garvey, and the Dodgers have the leadoff man on base here at the bottom of the 5th inning.
That was an interesting hit.
Well, this is why they don't like sinker balls or ball pitchers on AstroTurf. Same on a hard infield. It's a good sinker. He just hits it straight down, but he hits it hard. Rodriguez makes a nice play getting to it. Probably a double if he doesn't. Really just a hope throw. Garvey beats it easily.
For the crowd, alive now with Say at the plate. 3-run homer and a walk. Breaking pitch over for a strike, and it's 0-1. Each team was 7 hits. Dodgers took an early lead with a 3-run homer by Say in the first, but the Yankees with 2 in the second, 2 in the third. We're in the 5th. Garvey at first base and nobody out. Outside. 2-1 to count.
Awful close call there.
Like a pretty good pitch.
Certainly did.
Say, Ron's wife.
Pretty good pitch to hit and run on right here.
But they don't, and it's grounded foul outside third. So the count 2-2. Garvey coming back to first. Crowd chanting, go, go, go. In a ball game that right now is approaching the 2-hour mark, and we're in the 5th inning. Two pitch coming up to Say. Missing high for ball 3, so the count is full.
No action yet in the Yankee bullpen.
Garvey at first base. We'll see if Steve goes. He does, and the pitch is inside to put men at first and second. Say aboard for the third consecutive time. The Dodgers with runners at first and second and nobody out. And now the Yankee bullpen will get busy, with Pedro Guerrero coming up in a similar situation in the third inning. He was sent up there to bunt, couldn't deliver, and then swung away with 2 strikes and struck out. So here we go again with Guerrero.
Well, this is an interesting time for Thomas Lasorda. Obviously, the play is a bunt. But you saw Lasorda mouth the words he can't bunt.
Guerrero up there to swing away, takes outside. In the Yankee bullpen, the right-hander, Ron Davis. May, the left-hander.
I think one of the most important thing a manager can do is knowing the capability of his players. And I can't imagine that Lasorda didn't know that he couldn't bunt after watching him play for a couple of years.
Swings away again. It's a chopper by Rodriguez for a base hit. Garvey around third. He scores to tie it. On his way to second is Guerrero standing. He's safe.
You think luck isn't important? Mr. Branch Rickey once said luck is the residue of design. I have seen 2 hits, both choppers, both on a concrete-like infield, go over a third baseman's head.
Well, the only reason this ball goes over his head is because he's in for the bunt. You can see him about 3 or 4 steps in front of the bag. Had it not been a bunt situation, he's probably going to catch the ball, step on third, maybe get the force at second base for a double play.
Still a lot of luck.
No doubt about it.
Game tied with Say at third, Guerrero at second. Still no one out of the inning, and Rick Monday, who has singled and fly to left. And they'll walk Monday intentionally to load them up and go to work on Sosa. So with first base open, they'll put Rick on. And the Dodgers, with the game tied 4-4, will have the bases loaded, nobody out, and their number 8 hitter coming up.
Of course, the reasoning behind this is they want to try to get a quick 2 outs with a double play. They'll give him the run, stay away from the big inning, maybe force Lasorda to either stay with Valenzuela or pinch hit for him. And they have some action in the Dodger bullpen right now.
Here comes Len.
Lemon strolling to the mound. He has May and Davis in the pen.
For this batter, he will use May. After that, maybe another change.
Frazier effective against Oakland in the championship series, and effective tonight as he came on in relief of Righetti in the third. Gave up a base hit in the fourth, and the call goes out for Rudy May. They'll bring in the left-hander to face Sosa. So as May makes his way in, we'll be back with more from Dodger Stadium after this word from our local stations.
Today's the night. ABC is the place.
You've never seen a television mother like Maggie. What, Irma Bombeck live?
Tomorrow, it's the premiere of Maggie. Then the girls are back and pouring on the laughs in the season premiere of an all-new Making a Living.
Tomorrow.
Some clothes are just for business. Here's my business outfit. But for more casual times, nothing can beat a classic tweed sport coat. Richmond asked me to show you this new one from their Adams Row collection. It's all wool, rugged but soft. If you really appreciate hand-woven Harris tweed, see Adams Row, only at a Richmond store. Once you try Richmond, no one else will suit you. Natural shoulders, unnatural shoulders.
Singapore, the most surprising tropical island on Earth. Fly Singapore Airlines to Singapore. And on the way, enjoy the in-flight service even other airlines talk about.
Tonight on Eyewitness News, we'll have Dodger post-game interviews and the latest on the ticket rush for weekend World Series tickets. Also, it's homecoming time at UCLA. Join us for the parade after the movie.
USC tackles Notre Dame Saturday night at 11:30.
Rudy May, the veteran, he's been around a long time, but this is his first World Series appearance. Those are his figures for the regular season. After leading the American League in earned run average in 1980, he ballooned to a 4.14 mark and comes in here to face Mike Scioscia. Waiting there with the score tied 4-4 and the bases loaded, nobody out. Bottom of the fifth inning. Scioscia, as you can see, has had very little difficulty against left-handers this season.
So much for the notion of platooning. But I've discovered a new weapon. Once I discussed in this ballpark with Tom Seaver, who had made a study of the geology of the ballparks, the whole texture and context of this infield, and indeed the pitcher's mound and the area around home plate.
Bases loaded. Ron Shea, the runner at third. That's Pedro Guerrero at second. And Rick Monday at first. Mike Scioscia didn't start tonight. Came up to pinch hit for Yeager in the third inning and grounded out. And in the on-deck circle, Reggie Smith to bat for Valenzuela.
And Rudy May is known for in the American League for his curveball. Excellent curveball, fastball, and changeup. If there's anything that may trouble him occasionally is his control.
Yankee infield double play depth. And Cerrone saving a run here. A very appropriate statement at that particular point as May throws one in the dirt.
Well, that was a hard breaking ball, and for him to get Scioscia out and be effective, he's going to have to get his breaking ball over.
Terry Cooney doing some house cleaning as Rick Cerrone engages Cooney in a brief conversation, and now Scioscia ready to stand back in with a count 1 ball and no strikes.
Dodgers with an opportunity for a blowout.
Bouncing ball fielded by Randolph. He gets one and over to first for 2. They get the double play, but the Dodgers take the lead. Say comes in to score, but what May has done is avoid perhaps the big inning. The Dodgers on top 5-4.
I think we're going to see Fernando. Reggie Smith's kind of going back to the dugout.
Smith was out on deck, but it looked like it could be a very big Dodger inning. Now 2 down, and the runner at third, Guerrero. And we're waiting for Fernando to emerge from the Dodger dugout, and here he comes. So the double play or a grand slam homer might have been the only thing that would keep Fernando in the game.
Well, Tommy Lasorda's gambling. He's got a 1-run lead. Fernando did pitch better in the 4th and the 5th, but I'm not so sure the way he's throwing that 1 run's going to be enough. But he is a good hitter. I mean, hit .250 on the year, 2 game-winning hits.
Sure, he's not an automatic out.
Exactly.
7 runs batted in. 2 out. Guerrero at third. The Dodgers have pushed across 2 in the inning and lead 5-4.
Fernando, being a pitcher, I know what he'd like to have that extra run.
1-0 the count.
Of course, Rudy May's been around long enough to know that this is his last batter. Davey Lopes coming up, and Ron Davis warming in the bullpen.
No question about that.
Fouled away. 1-1.
That graphic confirms what you've been told by all of us with regard to Valenzuela's hitting ability.
Little chopper hit toward short. Milburn on the run. Throws high, but a toe dance done by Watson, and the inning is over.
I was waiting to see if that ball would bounce over Milburn's head.
2 runs, a couple of hits, and a man left on. So the Dodgers have come from behind, and after 5 complete innings of play, the Dodgers on top 5-4. Yankees winning games 1 and 2. Dodgers moving out to a 3-0 lead tonight in the first inning, with the Yankees getting 2 in the second, 2 in the third. The Dodgers coming up with a couple in the bottom of the 5th.
There's Bob Lemon, and during the course of the evening, Al and I have had some talks about some of the free agents whom the Yankees will be having at the end of this season. I talked with Bob Lemon on that subject. Now, the Yankees have 6 free agents, some of your most important players. Examples: Guidry, Piniella, Jackson, of course. What is your feeling about their return?
Well, I think that George will find some way to get those things ironed out. If they don't return, I feel that he'll replace them with somebody probably as good.
So that even the loss of Jackson would not be catastrophic.
Well, Babe Ruth quit, Ted Williams quit. There's a lot of guys that quit, and it's amazing how the game can survive.
Well, it is amazing. And, of course, the Yankees leading 2 games to none in the series, though the Dodgers presently ahead in game number 3. And the Yankees doing it without Reggie. Philosopher, Mr. Lemon.
Also has laryngitis. We should point that out, too. I want an honest answer, Howard. You know, you put me on the spot over the years. Will broadcasting still live on when you retire?
Yes.
But it won't be the same, right?
I agree with that.
That's what I thought. I should have let you answer that. It would have been more magnificent than mine.
On to the 6th inning we go. 5-4. The Dodgers on top. Well, what I'm looking for, Jim, is for you to fill the void when Howard retires.
No, that's you, Al.
No way.
Roy Firestone, that's who we need up here.
That's a local kid with a great gift at mimicry.
He used to be our bat boy in Miami. That's how he used to entertain us on the few days it rains. He's better. He's gotten better. Of course, I think you were at Arizona State then, Al.
Right?
Way back. This is way back.
Way back with Monday and Bando and Jackson. 6th inning. Willie Randolph drawn 2 walks and grounded out. He's 0 for 1. 1-0 the count. Valenzuela with a 1-0 pitch that misses low and inside. 2-0. Both teams with a lot of opportunities tonight. And they've been cashing in. A lot of men left on base, but 9 runs up on the board through 5 as well. 3-0 the count.
Well, Valenzuela falling behind again. Each team has left a man on in each of its innings. You wonder how long this young man can get away with it. He would not have been in there without the National League rule. No designated hit.
3-1. You like that rule, don't you?
No, I don't. I tell you.
You said before you like the DH.
Oh, I like the DH. Yeah. I thought you referred to the National League.
That's a strike. I don't know. I've got to take the contrary opinion, Howard. It just takes too much strategy away from the game. I thought it was fascinating the other day in Montreal.
What's the strategy to walking a guy?
The strategy the other day in Montreal was fascinating. Do you take Burris out, pinch hit for him, which Fanning did? Rogers comes in, gives up a home run. You don't see that in the American League. Randolph draws another walk as Steve Howe is throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Randolph has drawn 3 walks tonight. Winfield has drawn 2. And Milburn's been walked twice intentionally. So overall, Valenzuela has walked 7. And Lasorda is going to take a walk to the mound. So Randolph aboard. Walking, of course, is nothing new to Willie, who led the league in walks last year with 119 and had 57 to lead the club this season. The 7 walks by Valenzuela, the most in his brief career.
This is a good scene because, of course, Valenzuela, there's a language barrier, but Valenzuela does understand baseball terminology so they can pigeon communicate. I went through this with both Socia and Yeager, and Socia speaks a little bit of Spanish. Castillo, of course, can be an interpreter.
I also get the feeling Fernando knows a little bit more English than he might let on. Sixth inning. Dodgers on top 5-4. Randolph at first base. Valenzuela keeping a close eye on him.
Just to let him know that he knows he's over there. Not a great pickoff move, but just has a real quick move to the plate. Tough to steal him.
0-1.
Humphrey doing the same thing, Jim, don't you think?
Well,
he's got to advance this runner.
I'm sure he'd like to do that. But he's gotten him out the 2 previous times on a curveball and a screwball. He saw a high fastball and tried to get on top of it.
Again driving Randolph back. Winfield will be next. And a 5th throw to first base. There he goes. Screwball is swung on and missed, and the throw is a beauty. Socia to Lopes to take care of Randolph.
Big play there.
Well, it's high screwball. Fernando did his job, got rid of the ball quickly, and Socia makes a fine throw. One of the better throwing catchers in the National League. That's the one thing the Dodger pitching staff benefits from.
And that's called strike 3. So just like that, bang, bang, 2 quick outs. In the 6th inning, and Dave Winfield, the batter. 5 strikeouts for Valenzuela. Winfield has walked twice and struck out. He's 0 for 1. And still looking for his first hit in the series. 0 for 8 in the 3 games. 2 out, bases empty. Dodgers leading 5-4. Scrooge missing away, and the count 1-1 on Winfield. One hopper to stay, and the Yankees done in the 6th. No runs, no hits. And nobody left on. At the end of 5.5, it remains 5-4 Dodgers.
All you people in motion, here's a good notion.
The telephone credit card. The easy way to call.
Easier than carrying a whole lot of change. You get a monthly record of your calls.
Apply at your Bell business office for your free card.
Mrs. Wilson. Hi, Mom. It's the newest Mrs. Wilson.
All over the land, call soon as you can.
Good.
Now cut it in half. Where's that piece on inflation?
It's your broker from Dean Witter.
Today?
Some people just aren't easy to please,
More guns.
especially when it comes to their investments.
Jim, how'd we do?
You look like you just heard from Dean Witter.
At Dean Witter, we can give even the hard-to-please investor something to smile about.
Now, Brennan.
You look like you just heard from Dean Witter.
People ask me, what spark plug should I put in my Japanese car? I say, for short trips, you need a hot plug. Help stop misfiring. For long trips, a cold plug. It runs smooth at high speeds. Then I tell them there's a marvelous plug for Japanese cars. It works like two plugs in one, hot and cold, because it has this longer power tip. Then I tell them something else. It's not Japanese, it's American. Autolite.
The Dodgers on top 5-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Valenzuela has gone all the way for Los Angeles. We have seen Righetti, Frazier, and May for New York. Al Michaels with Howard Cosell, Jim Palmer. Bottom of the 6th inning, Davey Lopes, Bill Russell, and Dusty Baker. Davey Lopes a double in the 1st inning and scored on Say's homer. Hits one into left field for a base hit. Davey now 2 for 3 on the night, and that's 9 hits for the Dodgers.
Well, Lemon had a choice to make. Neither Jim nor I thought he'd come in with May to start this inning. His job now as the manager is keep this score, keep this a one-run ball game.
Well, I think you'll see Bill Russell try to advance the runner either with a hit and run or a bunt. And then I think we'll probably see Ron Davis.
Nothing cooking right now in the New York bullpen. Russell 2 for 3. Rodriguez in shallow at 3rd as May throws over to drive Lopes back. The Dodgers already with 9 hits, equaling their total in the first 2 games in the series. Out as Russell had squared, but Lopes remains at first base. 1-0.
Well, that pitch out serves 2 purposes. Number 1, you can tell if Russell's going to bunt, and he did square around. Number 2, you're taking a chance of Lopes running on that particular pitch and maybe have a chance to get an easy out after Lopes led off with a base hit.
Davey, no trouble getting back to the bag.
Well, that wasn't Rudy May's good move. He has one where it looks like he's going home and it's coming to first. It's kind of borders on a balk move where a lot of times it's decided by the interpretation of the umpire.
Lopes goes. Russell hits a fly ball to left field. Winfield camping underneath it. 1 out as Lopes retreats back to first.
Left fielder, Dusty.
1 away in the 6th inning, and Dusty Baker the batter. Dodgers have 9 hits tonight, but Dusty is hitless, and he's 1 for 9 now in the World Series.
There's a remarkable large screen in this ballpark. Have you watched it, Al?
Diamond Vision.
Yep, it's just a spectacular thing. Colored electron tubes, bright colors, bringing a vision, a visibility that's just astonishing. Clarity.
Probably the first of a new breed of boards. In for a strike, and the count is 0-1.
It's certainly sharper than anyone in the American League.
There it is. Right now it's blank. Gets a shot later when they're doing something up on it. It's been a great addition to this park. It made its debut, you'll recall. We were here last year for the All-Star game. On the count. 0-2, and that time May had Lopes going back to first base.
Well, Davey Lopes steals here. It's a testimony to how good a base runner he is, because Cerrone has a good arm and Rudy has a good pickoff move. He won't give him a running jump.
Inside, Lopes had the best percentage in the majors this year, completing or being successful on 20 of his 22 attempts. 6 for 6 in his postseason attempts. And over his career, he's been successful 83% of the time. 1-2 the count on Baker. One out, we're in the 6th. Dodgers ahead, 5-4. Line foul.
Tell you, Lemon is flirting with dynamite here. Nobody working in the bullpen. He's got his left-hander there going against Baker. Garvey up next. Say after that. Clyde King, pitching aide, sitting next to Lynn. Clyde, another of the disciples of Mr. Branch Rickey.
One-two pitch is fouled straight back. Steve Garvey on deck. Tommy up and pacing again in the Dodger dugout. Garvey waiting next. One out and 1-2 the count on Baker.
There's Fernando and Valenzuela.
Looks a little tired, doesn't he?
Well, he's battling tonight. Give him a lot of credit.
Got him swinging. So Dusty Baker has gone on strike. First strikeout for Rudy May. And Garvey coming up.
And here you see it looks like here's Rudy May's good curveball. Swings right through it. That's really his out pitch.
But Steve Garvey comes up 2 for 3. Although I must say the last single, which took that horrendous bounce, was, as Seaver would have noted, a lesson in geology.
Garvey 5 for 10 in the World Series. 2 down, Lopes at first. 0-1. Throw to first. Garvey, of course, with that consecutive game string. That is as impressive as anything to me when you think about it. Here we are in a World Series. Jackson's not playing. Minor injury. Nettles is not playing. Minor injury. Din is out. Reggie Smith has been ailing this season, of course. And yet here's a man, Garvey, day in, day out over the years. Pops it up. Rodriguez in foul ground. And so the Dodgers squander a leadoff single by Davey Lopes at the end of 6 complete at Los Angeles. Still 5-4 Dodgers.
Oh, a once-in-a-lifetime play. But I've got an instant replay forever on my RCA convertible video recorder. It's really 2 VCRs in one. It records my TV favorites, and it converts to a portable home movie outfit. So I can record Moose's big plays, too. The RCA convertible. 2 VCRs are better than one.
No one gives you more VCR than RCA.
This is Radiator Rust,
It's building up after just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze. Now look at a radiator protected with new improved Prestone 2, same 10,000 miles. Quite a difference. Introducing the new silicone silicate formula Prestone to lock out rust and corrosion in all metals. Now it's even stronger for better aluminum protection. New improved Prestone 2, the best seller, just got better. No wonder we're #1.
What's happened to service in America? The dictionary says it's the performance of labor for the benefit of another. But Ava says it in 3 words. We try harder, right? It means honoring reservations, giving you their best rates, checking their cars for safety and comfort. You see, Avis believes that you should get good service simply because you paid for it. Trying harder is still the best way to do business.
Word has it, Bob Uecker really is in the ballpark tonight. I think we found him. Uecker?
Thank you, Al. We're sitting here with Lee Majors, and you got a new series premiering next Wednesday if this World Series is over, called Fall Guys.
That's right, Bob, and it's going to be a very exciting series. It's about a stuntman who doubles people in the motion picture and television industry. And meanwhile, between jobs, he moonlights as a modern-day bounty hunter. I think the American public's going to love it. And I'm proud to be here with a man who hit 2 home runs off of Sandy Koufax.
Great to see you, Lee. Success to the series. Back to you, Al.
All right, Uecker.
He planted that line.
Uecker gave him $100 last night. That's why. Lou Piniella leads off for the Yankees as we go to the 7th inning. Piniella, Watson, and Cerrone against Valenzuela, who has tiptoed his way through 6, giving up 4 runs and 7 hits. It starts with a strike.
I think if I hit 2 home runs off Sandy Koufax, I'd let everybody know about it too, though.
Especially from the lips of a major star in the industry.
0-2 the count.
This kid has a reputation for getting stronger in the late going, and that reputation is being substantiated at this time because Valenzuela is looking stronger.
1-2 the count.
However, way to go.
Two and 2. The 2-2 pitch. Piniella goes to right field, but it's an easy, lazy fly ball for Rick Monday. 1 down. A reminder that coming up tomorrow, NCAA college football, 2 regional telecasts. Nebraska taking on Missouri, Minnesota against Iowa. And that will precede the World Series at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific time from Dodger Stadium, where the scheduled matchup is Rick Russell and Bob Welch. Bob Watson homered, popped out, doubled, 2 for 3. 1-0 the count. One and 1. Fernando Valenzuela, rookie season. Not making a whole lot of money because he was a rookie, but he certainly picked up a few bucks promotionally. Merv Griffin looking on in the crowd of 56,236, which is an all-time Dodger Stadium record. Driven to left field, Dusty Baker going all the way back to the fence and makes a catch against the boards. So Bob Watson comes that close to his 2nd home run of the game and his 3rd of the series.
I tell you, both sides are living dangerously. Look at this.
They sure are, but got to give Fernando some credit because it's easy to go out there when all your pitches are working and you got good control and you can throw that screwball low and away when you want to. And that wasn't a particularly good pitch, but not too many 20-year-old pitchers would struggle through a game like this in a World Series and still be out there.
Rick Cerrone looks at a strike. 2 out, bases empty in the 7th inning. 5-4 LA. shallow right center field. Lopes calling. That's that. First 1-2-3 inning for Fernando tonight. Yanks gone quickly. Middle of the seventh. 5-4 Los Angeles.
You're about to see an incredible machine. This is the 8200 copier from Xerox. It feeds originals automatically. It gives you XL10 quality copies on both sides. It reduces, it collates, it even staples. Now, to operate a machine that does as much as the 8200, you'll have to acquire some very special skills. You'll have to learn how to do this.
Welcome to our people-pleasing places.
Good luck.
Holiday Inn makes me feel like a winner. That's why my team chooses Holiday Inn. No surprises. Beds always comfortable, always. Big rooms. And there's a Holiday Inn hotel near just about everywhere we play. Well, let's go call them like we see them.
You have to see them to call them.
Holiday Inn is number one in people pleasing.
Since baseball time is measured only in outs, all you have to do is to succeed utterly. Keep hitting, keep the rally alive, and you've defeated time. You remain forever young. Baseball fever. Catch it. It's worth it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
An odd set of numbers through 7 for Fernando Valenzuela, but he has the lead right now. Dodgers on top 5-4. And as the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 7th inning, it'll be Say, Guerrero, and Monday facing Rudy May. Say, perfect night. 3-run homer to get the Dodgers started in the first. 2 subsequent walks. 2 for 9 in the series. Rudy May in his 3rd inning of work. Oh, 1. One and 1 on Say. Ron doesn't like that call. Barry Cooney of the American League, the umpire, back of the plate. 1-2 the count. One hopper, 5 down and Randolph for a base hit. Ron Say getting aboard for the 4th time tonight. Say, Garvey, Russell, and Lopes each with 2 hits tonight, and the Dodgers collectively with 10.
It's an interesting team, this Dodger team. They have a way of winning here at Dodger Stadium, and they have a way of fighting back. Watching them in practice today, they were as loose as any team you could ever want to see. They were having fun.
Pedro Guerrero. A double in the 5th inning to drive in a run. 1 for 2 tonight. 0-1 the count.
Special challenge for the Dodgers tonight. They had taken a quick 3-run lead. They had their young ace going, and they fell behind 4-3. And they still had the capacity to come back. They haven't won yet, of course, but they're proving themselves.
Well, the Yankees have not won a game all year that they trail going into the 7th inning. So.
Very, very good statistic.
The 0-2 pitch. Fights it off and fouls it away.
And that's a statistic it's hard to believe.
It really is,
they
isn't it?
have.
And they won 55 out of 56 when they went into the 7th leading.
Here you see a curveball down and in. They try to pitch Guerrero with a lot of breaking balls. He just gets a little bit of it.
Dodgers finally doing something offensively. You go back to that 78 series when the Yankees won the last 4. In those last 4 games, the Dodgers scored only 8 runs. They had only 3 in the first 2 games of the series. Prior to tonight, here comes Bill Buehler, the veteran Dodger trainer, out to check on Guerrero. Pedro hitting with a count, no balls and 2 strikes. And Darryl Thomas has come out on deck to bat for Rick Monday. So Guerrero still in some agony. Finally gets back in with a count, no balls and 2 strikes. And down he goes. Second strikeout for Rudy May.
Interesting job done by this young man. Came in, looked like the Dodgers might blow the Yankees out. Bases loaded. Got the double play that produced the present lead run. And he's been solid ever since. Gave up a hit in the 6th. He's given up a hit so far, but he gets the key outs.
Darryl Thomas, the switch hitter, batting for Rick Monday with 1 out and Say at first base. Thomas, perhaps the most versatile of the Dodgers, can play anywhere. One and oh. Thomas bluffing the bunt and drawing Rodriguez in. Julio even with a bag for the moment. Now back a step. 1-0 to Thomas. 2-0 the count. Darryl playing in his first World Series in 1981. Came up in the Houston chain, went to San Diego, then San Francisco, and then back to San Diego. Dodgers got him as a free agent.
Quite a boatsman.
See? A man that can do a lot of things. Once we washed his car in the parking lot at Candlestick Park during the middle of a ball game. Grounded down to short. Over to Randolph for 1 and back to first for the double play. So Rudy May pitching very well in relief. The Dodgers are done in the 7th inning, and we will go to the 8th. 5-4 Los Angeles. Back with more after this word from our local stations.
Premiering Sunday at 8 o'clock. A special 2-hour premiere of a hot new series, Today's FBI.
You're in a risky line of business.
Mike Connors busts open a waterfront scandal.
I want this walking garbage off my beer.
Today's FBI.
Sunday night on ABC.
Dos cosas siempre me han gustado, béisbol y los néctares de Kent.
Fernando says 2 things he's always liked are baseball and Kern's nectars.
Los néctares de Kent están hechos de la fruta entera, deliciosos.
Kern's nectars are made from the whole fruit and taste delicious.
De los 16 néctares de Kent, mi favorito es chabacano.
Of all 16 Kern's nectars, his favorite is strawberry.
No, épico.
Do you know me? With this hat, I'm recognized as a gourmet cook. With this hat, I'm recognized as a long ball hitter. Without a hat, I guess I'm just another adorable redhead. So, I carry the American Express card. With this, I'm treated like an MVP, a most valuable person.
To apply for a card, look for this display wherever the card is welcomed.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Jody Dunphy here tonight on Eyewitness News. We'll tell you about the Dodger ticket raffle in Orange County, and we'll have locker room interviews after the game. Join us for all of the news, weather, and sports following the ABC movie.
Who will reach Ice Station Zebra Friday night?
go to the 8th inning for the Dodgers. Darryl Thomas, who pitched hit and bounced into the double play, stays in the game in center field. Pedro Guerrero, who was in center, moves to right. Dodgers on top, 5-4. And in the 8th inning for the Yankees, bottom of the order, you've got Rodriguez, Milburn, and then the pitcher's spot. Aurelio Rodriguez starting in place of the injured Greg Nettles tonight. Nettles hopeful of coming back tomorrow. Aurelio 1 for 3. Line to left field, and Dusty Baker has to play it on a hop. So the Yankees get the leadoff man on in the top of the 8th.
It's in a way ironic that on the night Nettles is out, the Dodgers get their lead hitting chopping ground balls that add hop over the third baseman's head.
And Rodriguez filling in offensively, doing the job tonight. 2 for 4 as Larry Milburn takes a long look at Joe Altobelli, the third base coach. Larry tonight with a single to drive and a run, and then 2 intentional walks. Barry Foote has come out on deck for the Yankees. It's swung on and hit foul outside third. Ron Say was about 70 feet from home plate, expecting a possible bunt. And Milburn whizzed it by him. So Rodriguez comes back to first.
It's like a high breaking ball, and Fernando's lucky that it's just a little bit foul. And you can see the depth there of Say there, way in for the bunt.
The young man has the courage and the stamina that you've suggested, Jim, but he's been hit hard tonight.
Hit off the end of the bat on the ground down to Lopes, and Davey can't make the play. Runners at first and second. Lopes pushed over toward the middle on a bouncing ball. A slow squiver cued off the end of the bat to the right side. And the Yankees with runners at first and second and nobody out.
Look at it again, and Milburn does it again, hitting behind the runner.
Well, that was his intent. It was a high screwball in the middle of the plate. Ball spinning away from Lopes. Difficult play.
That's how in the bullpen. Barry Foote had been out on deck, but as of the moment, you've got Willie Randolph out there. He would be the next hitter. Lemon's going to go to the bench. And of course, if Lasorda is going to make any move, he will first wait for the Yankees to announce their pinch hitter. So the next move belongs to New York. There is Davis. Now he will come in to pitch in the bottom of the 8th inning, as Lemon will be going to his bench.
I think he's taking a poll to see who can bunt.
Bobby Mercer can bunt.
Yeah.
Lefty or righty, Bobby Mercer can bunt.
And it could be Merce. It is. There he is at the bat rack. Putting in the chaw. And Mercer, who laid one down the other night in New York, is going to come up in a similar situation. Bobby Mercer. First World Series for Bobby. There's Lasorda. Tommy checking over the lineup card posted on the back wall.
Doesn't quite know what to do with himself, and he certainly is a colorful fellow.
That he is. He's got a tough decision to make. I would think that if he's going to go to the bullpen, Steve Howe, who throws somewhere in the low 90-mile-per-hour range, would be much more difficult to bunt for Bobby Mercer than Fernando.
Mercer, interestingly enough, did not have one sacrifice during the regular season. When called upon the other evening, he was able to lay one down in the 7th inning of Game 2. And here he comes.
Well, Lasorda is going to stick it out all the way with Fernando.
Mercer, no stranger to this ballpark. Bobby starting his career with the Yankees and going to the Giants and the Cubs before returning to New York. Runners at first and second. and nobody out. Mercer tries to lay one down, and Shea makes a dive and catches foul ground, throws to first, double play. Ron Shea.
Interesting change of events right here as you look at it again. Mercer got the bunt up in the air. Shea playing in. Fine diving catch. And Milburn far off the bag.
Milburn getting caught after Shea makes a great play. So all of a sudden 2 down. Rodriguez at second, and the pitch to Randolph is a strike. 0-1.
Might be some second guessing on that, Jim.
Well, there's no excuse for being doubled up on that play. You have
exactly.
A play in front of you. I've seen runners on second base get picked off when the batter bunts through the ball. But
1-1. Ron Shea making the play at third.
Heather with his 3-run home run in the first inning. Quite a night for the Penguin.
1-1 on Randolph. Valenzuela missing low the fastball. 2-1 the count. 2 down, tying run. Rodriguez at second. Two-one pitch is outside. 3-1 on Randolph, who's already drawn 3 walks tonight. Valenzuela has walked 7, 2 of those intentionally. Pitch is chopped toward third. It's a fair ball, and Shea will make the out on the bases. Ron Shea tagging Rodriguez. So the Yankees at first and second, nobody out, and that's that.
Well, this is another bad base running play by Rodriguez. He has to wait. Just makes a mistake, and these are the mental mistakes that George Steinbrenner was talking about.
And George is not happy at this moment, his face full of scowls. We'll be back.
Control 6 to base. Looks like this big old hole in the ground is going to be safe for the night. Over.
They come out all beat. It's Miller time.
Miller time. Time to appreciate the difference between a good beer
when it's time to relax
and a great beer.
One beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
You got the time. We got the beer. Miller beer. Come Miller time. We got the beer.
Why is our front-wheel drive Chevy Citation such a hero with so many Americans? Let's ask Family Man.
Citation? Well, it's like having 2 cars in one. Back here, it's got wagon-like cargo space, which converts quickly into a roomy 5-passenger sedan.
But I only count 4 of you. Why do you need Citation's room for 5?
Why don't you ask Storkman?
Now get bigger savings on new 1981 Citations.
People trust Seiko technology for bold sports watches that perform brilliantly, even 100 meters beneath the sea. People trust Seiko for slim dress watches with every timekeeping function you'll probably ever need. People trust Seiko for watches that are as finely crafted as they are technologically advanced. In fact, people trust Seiko more than any other watch. At your authorized dealer.
In the pitch for the Yankees is Ron Davis as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees with a golden opportunity and 2 base running blunders in the top of the inning and come up empty.
Well, look at this. Rodriguez was on second, no one on first. He shouldn't be coming down. A long, tough throw for Say it would have been to get the batter, who was Randolph, a speedster. And that followed in the wake of Milburn being amazingly down the line toward second. He had been on first, another runner on second, nobody out when Mercer attempted to bunt. It was picked off on a great play by Say, but should not have been a double play. Terrible base run.
The Yankees running themselves out of the inning as Sosa looks at a strike, and the count is 0-1. Sosa, Valenzuela, and Lopes for the Dodgers here in the bottom of the 8th. Davis, even with nobody on base, will work out of a stretch, feeling more comfortable this way. And Sosa rips it into right center, so now we'll have to definitely work out of a stretch. Man on. Michael Bourne and Valenzuela coming up.
Feet here, as you can see, and this hasn't been a gem.
No, but he deserves it.
Exactly.
Gutty.
Gutty performance all the way. Luck Be Your Lady Tonight, a song that Sinatra once made popular, and he had to have that luck tonight, but he had to have more than that.
Fernando lays down a pretty decent looking bunt, but to throw it second in time there and not in time at first base. Rodriguez coming down quickly and coming up firing to second. So Milburn covers. The play goes 5-6, 1 gone.
Well, and here you'll see Aurelio Rodriguez's arm. He does make a good bunt. Now the problem is that Rodriguez has a great arm and Sosa doesn't run very well. And the ball just beats him. Almost get a double play. But Fernando, this may affect him in the 9th inning. He's hustling. He's got to be a little tired.
Looking ahead to the 9th inning, when the Yankees come up, they have Mumphrey, Winfield, and Piniella.
And here you see Davey Lopes is taking his time to try to give Fernando a rest.
Time-honored tradition. Leadoff man giving the pitcher some extra time. 1 away. Lopes 2 for 3 plus a sacrifice. Davis, the 4th Yankee pitcher. Righetti, Frazier, and May preceding. One and 0. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time, Game 4 of the World Series. Scheduled starters: Rick Russell for the Yankees, Bob Welch for the Dodgers, and that will follow NCAA college football.
It's an old cliche in this business: a hero one day, a bum the next, and all you do is lose one game and suddenly momentum turns.
Doug Harvey pointing toward the stand, somebody perhaps with a mirror or a light looking down into the box seat level, first level.
Doug Harvey can often get himself involved. You remember that final Houston-Philadelphia game? Remember the triple play that became a double play?
1-1 the count. Yankees not paying any attention to Valenzuela at first base. Watson is well back of him, as you can see. 2-1 on Lopes. Got the corner, and the count is 2-2. 5 runs, 11 hits, and 1 error for the Dodgers. 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Yanks. Foul tip and held by Cerrone, and Lopes is gone. 2 away in the 8th inning, and that brings up Bill Russell.
Well, they didn't make any physical errors, Al, but they sure made 2 mental ones.
On the base paths.
Right.
They also made a physical one when they gave Monday a hit in the first inning on that little bounder off Watson.
Well, that didn't count then.
I know.
Russell takes outside, ball 1. Dodgers got 3 in the first. The Yankees scoring twice in the second, twice in the third to go in front. The Dodgers with 2 in the 5th. The go-ahead 5-4 as Russell pops it up. Out on the grass, Milburn. And so Davis does his job here in the 8th inning. The Dodgers with no runs, 1 hit, leave 1. Mumphrey, Winfield, and Piniella will be coming up in the top of the 9th inning in Game 3 with the score, Dodgers 5, Yankees 4.
Marcus, I see Whisker. Give it the pivot.
Give it the pivot, give it the pivot, Atra.
Next time, Jose, give it the pivot.
Atra.
The Gillette Atra razor pivots to continually adjust and hug every curve, contour, and angle. No other razor shaves closer and more comfortably than Atra.
I give it the pivot.
Give it the pivot, Atra.
Give it the pivot with Gillette Atra.
Bell System Knowledge brings you a way to manage information more productively. Dimension PBX, a programmable electronic communication system for making critical connections more rapidly, increasing profits, controlling costs, saving energy, creating new information management possibilities for an endless variety of businesses. Dimension PBX from Bell.
Guess what I've got in here?
What?
A piece of the sun.
No wonder I can't get a tan.
It's Polaroid's new sun camera, a new system that can turn bad light into good pictures. Dear, go ahead, take my picture.
You know it'll be dark.
Nope, you've never been so sure of an instant picture.
Great, but doesn't this cost a lot?
No, but wasting film in bad light does. And besides, you never buy flash or extra battery.
The sun looks the same. Where'd they take the piece from?
The other side.
You've never been so sure.
Saturday, exciting regional action on NCAA college football. In a Big 8 battle, the 11th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers tackle Missouri, which boasts a 5-1 record. Also, Rose Bowl-hungry Iowa, 6th-ranked in the nation and leading the Big 10, attacks Minnesota. The Hawkeyes are the surprise team of the season, having beaten Michigan, Nebraska, and UCLA earlier this year, plus other regional games. Don't miss NCAA college football Saturday on ABC.
College football followed tomorrow by the World Series Game 4. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Jim Palmer, statistician Alan Roth at Dodger Stadium in the bullpen. Steve Howe is the left-hander, and Dave Stewart is the right-hander. As we go to the 9th inning, the Dodgers on top 5-4 with Mumphrey, Winfield, and Piniella facing Valenzuela.
Minnesota wanting to go all the way with his kid.
Mumphrey 0 for 4. Hit the ball out of the infield tonight. 0-1 the count.
That's why Milburn's play was so costly. Mumphrey's been the outman tonight.
Low, and the count is 1-1.
They at least gotten him up from the Yankees' point of view last inning. Now you know that you're going to get to Watson, who's been the hot man.
1-1 pitch. Late swing and a miss. 1-2. Lasorda with Ron Paranowski. Lemon with Clyde King. 1-2 the count. Valenzuela going all the way. Nothing new for Fernando. Led the league this season with 11 complete games. Fouled away.
Really got him waving.
Well, there you saw a good screwball. He struck him out last time on a high fastball, and he's got him to bounce out to short. Back to him on both the curveball and the screwball. So Jerry looks a little bit confused and doesn't really know what's coming.
Scroogie just outside. You can see the shoulder shrug of Terry Cooney as if he was thinking about calling it strike 3. But no.
Mr. Mumphrey is lucky to still be up there.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Shot to the right side. An easy play for Davey Lopes. 1 away. So Mumphrey 0 for 5 tonight. And Winfield, the batter, who's 0 for 2, has walked twice and still looking for that elusive first hit in the World Series.
No question. That hurt the New York ball club tonight. They'll replay this ball game a lot of ways.
Right now, the 1-run difference, the result of a double play in the 5th inning. Swing and a miss. And that double play that Mike Scioscia hit into probably kept Valenzuela in the game, because it was Reggie Smith who was out on deck at that point.
And what he's been doing today, Winfield, he got on the ground to third and struck him out on screwballs. It just makes his other pitch a little bit better. And there you see a fastball away, just missed.
1 ball, 1 strike on Winfield. On deck is Piniella. Bases empty in the 9th. Winfield hits it foul. Off to the right, and the count is 1-2. Winfield not only hitless in the World Series, but as you can see, going back to the Championship Series. 2 for his last 27. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Winfield hits a high drive to right center field. Guerrero is there. 2 gone. Two out at Dodger Stadium, really rocking now as Lou Piniella comes to the plate. All-time stadium record crowd, 56,236. Valenzuela in and out of trouble all night in a ball game that right now is at the 3-hour mark. Piniella, 1 for 4, 3rd inning single.
About the call on that one.
Well, it was a good screwball outside corner.
You know, they're totally right about this kid. There is amazing poise there.
2-0 the count.
20-year-old.
Well, he did get 2 outs in Montreal, and he got very fine on Monday. He had Carter and Parrish up, both home run hitters. I wouldn't categorize Lou as a home run hitter. It certainly has the capabilities of doing that. Now he's 2-0 on him.
And Lou looks for the strike, so the count is 2-1.
The perfect compliment to a pitcher is anybody, like I said earlier, can win when you have everything going. But when you don't have your good stuff and you still go out and you end up winning.
Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Lou no strike away now.
Well, he swung defensively then. He did not hit his pitch. He hit Fernando's pitch.
If Piniella could keep it going, Watson would be next. 2-2 with 2 out, bases empty in the 9th, 5-4 Dodgers.
Crowd standing now as one, exhorting the rookie on.
Two pitch. Fernando Valenzuela, who threw 149 pitches tonight. That wasn't one for the Art Museum, but it was efficient, and he got the job done. And the Dodgers now trail 2 games to 1, winning 5-4. Back at Dodger Stadium after this commercial and a word from our local stations.
Like many married couples, Tom and Mary Ross both worked to pay their mortgage.
Allstate update, mortgage protection.
Only Tom's life was insured, so when Mary died, Tom couldn't pay the mortgage alone and had to sell their home. If you're a working couple, it could happen to you too. So Allstate Life offers joint mortgage protection. One policy that covers both breadwinners for less than 2 policies cost. Allstate's Joint Mortgage Protection Life Insurance. For life, home, or auto, you're in good hands with Allstate.
I checked your car and it needs new brakes. I recommend the kind that chirp like a cricket.
Sure, Mr. Goodrich?
Right. Genuine GM replacement disc brake pads. When they need replacing, they warn you with a chirp.
How, Mr. Goodrich?
With this built-in wear sensing signal.
Brakes with a chirp.
Keep that great GM feeling.
Sounds good.
With genuine GM parts.
Sunday, the inside story on the Stars. A special look at whatever became of.
What a tough decision. I love the color. And the price is right. But which is the better buy? This one is wear dated. The 5-year wear warranty. It sure helps to have a trademark you recognize and trust.
Have you decided?
Yes, I like this one.
Good choice.
The wear-dated trademark is the one you trust.
Life with Breslin, tomorrow at 7:30.
Ron Shea, 3-run homer in the first. Dodgers win at 5-4. Bob Uecker's on the field with the Dodgers third baseman.
Thank you very much, Al. Ron Shea with a big 3-run homer tonight in the first inning, and sparkling defensively tonight. Ronnie, you got to be feeling good. 2-1 now. Yankees still lead.
Well, Bob, we don't do things very easy, as you can tell. We've had ourselves in this position throughout the whole year, especially in the playoffs, and we're just glad that Fernando could continue on. He was in trouble the whole night, as you could tell. He really didn't have his good stuff, and I'm quite sure they probably felt they could score more, but he was tough down the stretch, and after they scored those early 4 runs, he really did a job.
Solid game, Ronnie. We'll do it again tomorrow. Back to Al.
All right, Uke. So the Yankees now leading in the series 2-1. Dodgers win it 5-4. Back in a moment.
Ah, new car.
Chevy Chevette.
Must have cost a fortune for the fancy wheels and white striped tires.
Standard, Father.
Radio. Reclining seats. On your salary.
Standard, Father. Along with front disc brakes and radial tires.
And these fancy stripes?
$89 extra.
And why would you spend $89 on stripes?
The devil made me do it.
Oh,
Chevy makes good things.
The devil, you say?
Copier companies have been introducing small copiers with a very interesting claim.
It's just as good as a Xerox.
It's just as good as a Xerox. Then one day...
This compact copier is very versatile. It even copies on your own letterhead. It's inexpensive, but best of all...
I know. It's just as good as a Xerox.
It is a Xerox.
The Xerox 2600, the compact copier that really is just as good as a Xerox.
Again, the final score of tonight's game, the Dodgers 5 and the Yankees 4. Be sure to join us here tomorrow on ABC for NCAA college football live at 12:30 Eastern. Then live at 4 Eastern, Game 4 of the 78th World Series. Blimp provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about. Tonight's game has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.